appeal ending, appeal ending, pardon, 000845, 8500 Lindbergh Boulevard, Nathan Ward, doing business as Eastwick Joint Venture, moot.
Moot. Thank you.
Number 14, appeal ending 000858, 1414 South 55th Street, Metro Real Estate Investment LLC. That matter is moot. I would just note that the same property has a case on number 13 that Mr. Guliuzza is handling, and I'll let him address that.
Okay.
I believe there's a preliminary matter on that one as well. Number 17, appeal ending 000897, 4012 East Roosevelt Boulevard, Augusto Hernandez. That matter is moot.
Moot. Thank you.
And also, Mr. Hernandez was here, I believe, with a family member who was translating for him off the record. And I did inform him that the matter was moot. So I
Thank you.
believe that he has left.
Mr.
He's not-
Hernandez
no
is
longer
present?
here.
Okay, so he's no longer present. Okay, thank you.
Moving to number 21, appeal ending 000922, 4131 North Franklin Street, appellant Juan Carlos Guzman Rengel, moot.
Thank you.
Number 22, 000926, 5303 Akron Street, Sandhya Sharma, moot.
Moot.
Number 23, appeal ending 000927, 1938 South 19th Street, appellant James Titterington, moot.
Moot.
Number 24, appeal ending 000933, 1906 excuse me, 1906 Elston Street, appellant Charles Reed, moot.
Moot.
Number 26, appeal ending 000941, 5933 Cedar Avenue, Mohammed Makaji, moot.
Moot.
Number 28, 000977, 1822 North Krosky Street, appellant Trudy Tennant, moot.
Moot.
Number 33, appeal ending 001075, 4940 Rohrer Street, appellant Linda Fernandez, moot.
Moot.
Number 35, appeal ending 001134, 427 East Cambria Street, a Yubelka Soto doing business as Soto Mini Mart, moot.
Moot.
Number 36, appeal ending 001208, 2736 Pierce Street, David Heinz, moot.
Moot.
And then before I turn it over to my colleagues, I do have a couple of agreements. Number 1, appeal ending 004418, 4616 Melrose Street, CJ&M Enterprises Limited, represented by Vincent Melcori. We did email a copy of an executed agreement to the board earlier. Mr. Melcori is unavailable and agreed to having
Okay.
this marked appropriately. That agreement is a city affirm with a 60-day stay of enforcement.
60-day stay. Okay.
That's
Thank you.
Correct. And I have one more. I'm not sure if Mr. Masters is here. I do have, excuse me, let me bring up the file.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Mr. Masters is here, but we do have an agreement on number 15 that I'd like to read into the record.
Number 15. Okay.
That's, yes,
What is the individual's full name if you, for the record?
it's a investing nationwide.
No, I
company.
mean, I'm sorry. Let's put the numbers in, et cetera. Then I was give us the full name of the legal counsel.
Yes, number 15, appeal ending 0008, 6930 King Sessing Avenue, appellant Investing Nationwide Company. My understanding, although it's not on my list, is that Mr. Masters is representing the appellant in that matter. I'm not sure if he is present now.
Okay,
Yes,
Mr. Masters present. If you are, sir, please unmute, make yourself known to the board. I don't see any response. There's a settlement in this matter in any regard, but just we need to correct the record in terms of the appeal number. My records are indicating that it's 000864.
Yes, excuse me, pardon, I misread that.
Okay, so we will know, what is the settlement?
Since Mr. Masters is not here, I would let me reach out to him because I'd prefer that if we're going to do that, if he
Okay.
noted on the record and he'd be here to do that.
Okay, we'll pass it and come back to it. Okay. Anything else?
I turn it over to my colleagues for agreements.
Okay, I have, as per our usual process, we will go to the raised hand. And Mr. Christopher Johnson?
Good afternoon, board. I would ask number 31 and 32, the appeals related to 5606 North Broad Street. Those can both be marked as moot.
And that's, put the records up. Please give us the full readout so we can have for the record, please.
Yeah, it's HA 2024-001058 and 2024-001059 related to 5606 North Broad Street. The appeals of Myung Kim and Only Steak and Beer Incorporated. Those can be both marked as moot.
Both are moot. Okay, thank you.
I'm also gonna ask for number 33.
Yes,
Did Mr. Rulo read off that one as moot?
yes.
Okay. Next, I would like to ask, did anyone appear on behalf of Suzanne or Delaware Avenue Enterprises Incorporated, Suzanne Schiller?
Which number is that?
That's number 5 on the list.
We
24
haven't
ones.
called it
No.
yet, so we don't know.
Okay, well, that's what I'm asking. I didn't see the attorney on the list, but I was
Yes, we
gonna
do
ask
have
to
someone
talk.
someone in the room representing that appellant.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all righty. Just for efficiency's sake, any city attorneys present in the room in addition to Mr. Rulo? Do you have any, Mr. Fernandez, any preliminary matters?
No preliminary matters.
All right, thank you. We have someone else? Yes, please. No, you can, no, yeah.
Good afternoon, Board. Michelle Reinhardt for the City of Philadelphia.
Afternoon.
This is regarding appeal number 27 HA 2024-000963 regarding 1625 Pine Street.
Okay,
I believe opposing counsel has a request.
okay, sir. Hit that button so there you go. Your name,
Yes, sir. My name is Anthony Archibala.
we'll need you to spell your last name,
Sure.
please.
It's Arecha, V as in Victor, ALA. I represent Mr. Daniel Perot, who's present behind me.
Okay,
He is the owner of the property in question. He's asked me to get involved as of yesterday afternoon, so I really would need some time to at least examine the documents and the property so I can properly assess and make proper recommendations.
so this is a request for a continuance.
What, if you don't mind?
What is the city's response?
No opposition.
Okay, so we will note this matter is continued.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Will we get notified in the mail?
Yes, you'll get correspondence from the board administrator as to
Can-
the next schedule.
Can I leave my card with the file?
Yes. You
Okay.
can leave it with this gentleman right over here.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go back to the raised hands. Mr. John Weiser.
Good afternoon, board members. Just a few matters I want to read into the record. First is number 4 on the list, appeal ending 000182 for the property located at 780 South Second Street. The appellant is Ashley Thomas. That matter was settled and is a city affirm with a 60-day stay of enforcement.
60-day stay, okay. Thank you.
Number 12 on the list, appeal ending 000855 for the property located at 9100 Frankfurt Avenue. The appellant is Salman Khan. That was also settled and is a city affirm with a 180-day stay of enforcement.
Thank you.
And 2 more, number 18 on the list, appeal ending 000907 for the property located at 443 Martin Street. The appellant is Walter Hodge. That was also settled and is a city of firm with a 90-day stay.
City affirmed, 90-day stay. Thank you.
Correct. And then the last matter, and I apologize for the board for not sending this request in prior to the listing. I believe opposing counsel is here. This is number 39 on the list, appeal ending 003863 for the property located at 7 North 2nd Street. The appellant is listed as Peter Hiller, and the counsel for the appellant is David Orphanides, who I believe is here. Again, I apologize for not submitting this to the board prior to the hearing today, but at this point, I believe we'd like to submit a joint continuance request for this listing and hopefully have this back as soon as possible.
Okay, is anyone present representing Mr. Orphanides?
No, Mr. Orphanides is representing the tenant, the book trader, Peter Heiler, who's also on right now.
Okay, because this matter was listed as must be tried, I need to hear argument from both the city and the appellant as to why we should continue this.
So this is actually only the second listing for this matter. I think both Mr. Orphanides and I at the last listing, we're hoping that this would be resolved before this current listing. It has yet to be resolved. We were hoping, like I said, to get this resolved beforehand, but we also do not have the last inspector at the property. And so if the city were to put this case on, we would prefer that inspector be available to testify.
Okay, Mr. Orphanides, any position?
I mean, I obviously agree with the very short continuance to the next available date. My client is working to address the violations. I might agree with counsel for the city that has not progressed exactly as quickly as I would have preferred, and I think they would have preferred. They understand the importance of taking care of the violations. They've done some, and they've done a good job with some, but there's a lot still to be done. They have applied. One of the violations was not having a zoning permit. That's not a life safety issue. That zoning permit application is in. They've contacted two architecture firms that I put them in touch with as far as applying for the certificate of occupancy. There is an issue regarding, it's a 4-story building, and it's a bookstore. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of stuff. It's a used bookstore. It's an institution in Old City. And they're working, and Mr. Heiler is here on with us, but he uses the first, second, and third floor. I believe the second floor is now in acceptable condition. They're on their way to getting the first floor in acceptable conditions. There are boxes with books and things in the walkways, and they're going to be taking care of that. The 4th floor is storage of the property owner who is in Florida. They have authorized my client to get an estate company to sell that. I have mentioned to counsel for the city that the current violation is only directed or addressed to the occupant, not specifically to the business. But I had asked them to possibly, because of the materials on the 4th floor not being my client, the tenant's property, that they possibly issue another violation against the owner. Not that I think that they're not cooperating, but they're not local. And I think that might provide a little extra incentive to make sure this gets done quickly. So I think you can hear that we have a lot of things in motion, things that I hoped would be in motion sooner, but they are in motion now. And I think, we both the city and I and my client, but particularly the city and I, want to see this resolved and resolved as quickly as possible. And I think this one last continuance to give them a chance to, now that they're right on the doorstep of getting things into the city and starting that process, I think it's important that we give them a little more time. And so I respectfully request that we be granted this one additional, very brief continuance. And again, to allow the inspector was out last Thursday. And I think it would be good for the board to hear what he has to say as well.
Well, for the record, I just want to be clear that this is an intent to cease.
Yes.
Just for the city's record, is there any concern about health and safety to the public and or the occupants of the building?
So I would like the inspector who was most recently at the property to be able to give more information about that. Unfortunately, he's out this week. What I can say is that This was initially, the appellant submitted an emergency request, but the city was satisfied at that time of the emergency request to allow this matter to be scheduled in the regular course of business instead of as an emergency. So I think that answers your question, Chairman Woodson.
Well, do we know if there's an active in-place fire alarm system?
There is, Miro, can you speak? There is a fire alarm system and there are detectors in place.
Okay. All right, just one moment.
And again, the second floor aisles are clear, looks fantastic. It's like being in Borders.
Okay, we're going to go off the record just for a moment. We'll get
Sure.
back to you shortly. This is regarding 38637 North Second Street. Just want to share for the record that the board is not happy to have to continue a matter that it was noted as must be tried, particularly since it's intended to cease. So we would strongly suggest to the city that it has to be another way to provide a credible witness for a matter like this. We cannot continue matters just because an inspector is not present. And so that puts us in a very uncomfortable position, one that we, particularly me, I don't care to have to deal with that. So if that particular witness is not available, there must be someone else on the city in the department who is the custodian of the record who could come and be able to provide an appropriate level of evidence. I mean, my apologies, appropriate level of testimony. So this is a joint request for continuance. It's noted as must be tried for today. Our role here is to determine whether at the time that the violation was written, whether it was written properly, and whether or not the conditions were at the time that the violation was written. We will take due note of all the time that's passed since the violation was written and what level of progress has been made. And I will say to the city that this is a must be tried, will be tried next time around, whether you have a witness or not. We will make a decision the next time this is listed, and this will be a short listing. So let's get this listed within the next couple of weeks, Mr. Moto, if we possibly can. Even if we have to add it on to an existing list. We want this to be done quickly. Thank you. We'll note it for today as continued.
May I just emphasize from the chairman's standpoint, the reason it must be tried is because it's perceived with all those books and whatever else is on the fourth floor, we have a serious and dangerous condition that has to be addressed. So, and it's been there for a long time. So now it's on the front burner. That's not necessarily the right expression,
Yes, no,
but let's get it done.
agreed.
Okay, Mr. Thomas Galuza. Please unmute.
Good afternoon, members of the board. I had two preliminary matters to bring to your attention today. The first is case number 13 on our list. That is HA 2024-000857. The appellant is Metro Real Estate Investment LLC. This appeal has been settled. The terms of the settlement are a city affirm with a $300 fine.
$300 fine, thank you.
And then the second one that I wanted to bring to your attention was number 38 on our list. That's hearing number HA 2024-002959 at 1628 South Taney Street. The appellant is Gina Battaglini. The violation was written to a GNARC Investment and Management Corporation. I was wondering if there was an attorney that had registered their appearance.
Okay, we don't have anyone noted. I will ask if there's someone present on Zoom who's representing. the
Yes,
interest.
I'm here, sir.
Okay, can you put your name on the record, please.
Yes, Gina Battaglini, Janark Investments.
Are you an attorney?
No, no, sir, I'm not.
Okay, who is your attorney?
I don't have an attorney, I'm pro se.
Okay, you didn't read the violation notice, I take it.
I'm sorry, I did not.
Yes, so the violation notice requires that a corporate ownership and or partnership must be represented by legal counsel. Is this property in your name alone, or is it entitled to the?
It's in our business, but we have an agreement. Well, he sent an agreement over to me. I've been trying to get the house
Okay, so there's an agreement that will settle this?
No,
So
here's,
the city did send an agreement, however, the terms of the agreement were not agreed to prior to the hearing.
Okay, so for today, though, we will not hear this case. Ma'am, if you come back to the board, you must be represented by legal counsel. In the meantime, of course, you can negotiate directly with the city if you choose to. But if this comes back before the board, you must be represented by counsel.
okay, no problem.
All right? Okay, thank you for today.
for the
We will note
record,
this
that
matter is continued.
She had two appeals. One's at 37 on the list and the other one's 38.
Oh, so 37 is being handled by you, Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, that's correct. But again, it should be the same disposition.
Okay, so we'll continue that one as well.
Yep.
So let's note for the record. At number 37, HA 2024-001169, 2647 Dickinson Street is also noted as continued for today. And that's Gina Battaglini, doing business as Genarch Investment and Man. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Both matters.
Is there a
are
way I can speak with Mr. Christopher Johnson?
Mr. Johnson, please share your contact information if you have.
I
it.
will. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am, I'm not sure, Mr. Johnson, you want to put that in the chat or how you want to do that?
Yeah, I'll send her a direct message.
Okay. He will contact you directly, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Can I be excused?
Yes, you excuse.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Goleta, I assume that's all you have for today?
Yes, that concludes my preliminaries. Thank you.
Okay. Maria Aquino.
Good afternoon, board members.
Good
I have-
afternoon.
I have one matter to read into the record.
Okay,
That's number 6 on today's list, appeal ending 000215, address 1534 South Edding Street, appellant Melissa Impagliazzo. That matter was resolved by agreement, a city affirmed with a 60-day stay of enforcement.
60 days stay, okay. All right, thank you very much. Do you have anything else?
Thank you. That's it for my preliminary matters.
Okay, Mr. Rulo.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. This concerns, pardon, bringing it up again, number 15 on the list, appeal ending 000864, 6930 King Sessing Avenue, appellant Investing Nationwide Company. As I mentioned, Mr. Masters is the attorney on that case. I actually just got an email notification. We have executed the agreement. I have forwarded that to the board. He is not on the call, but he did indicate that we could mark
Yes.
this settled.
Okay,
So the terms of that are a city affirm with a 30-day stay of enforcement.
30-day stay. Okay, thank you very much. All righty. I don't see any additional raised hands. Is anyone present in the room who has any preliminary matters? Okay, that the board may have a few, so just let me check my records here. Okay, the first thing that comes up is number 7, which is 0286-5643 North Fifth Street, Cadetown, Dembley, Demble. Mr. Fernandez, that's your matter?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Will Fernandez for the city of Philadelphia. Yes, that is my matter.
Okay, is anyone present representing the interests of 5643 North Fifth Street? Anyone present? Mr. Modoni, is anyone in the room with that?
Apologies, I do not see anyone with that name, sir.
Okay, Mr. Fernandez, no one is responding. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I have had email conversations with the appellant up until yesterday evening. All violations but one in this matter are complied. The remaining violation is for a fire alarm annual certification that is outstanding. Due to appellant's failure to appear, I would ask that the board mark their appeal dismissed.
Okay, all right, thank you. What time do we have, Mr. Pincus? 1:18 p.m. We will now poll the board regarding HA 2024-000286, 5643 North Fifth Street, Cadetown, Dembley. I will spell both first and last name. First name Kadiatou, last name Dembele. City of Firm, non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
Thank you very much. That resolves that matter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you,
Yes.
members of the board.
Let's move on to number 29. That's 0995-2943 Master Street. That's BSAJ LLC. Who's handling that matter?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Board. Will Fernandez for the City of Philadelphia. The appellant in this matter is represented by Mr. Henry Hank Clinton. I told Mr. Clinton that I would like to have another discussion with him before this matter is called.
Okay,
And so if this matter could be,
pass for now?
yes.
Okay,
please.
we'll come back to it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The issue of the board is one of timeliness. So that matter will be, we have to resolve that before we go forward. So you should be aware that we will need to have the MPT discussion if you can't resolve it when it's recalled.
That'll be part of our conversation. Thank you,
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
thank you. All righty. That represents all the preliminary matters. Yep, that represents all of our preliminary matters. Let's now move on to we do have one or two matters that I believe require a discussion of timeliness. And just want to check my record here, see if that still exists. We do have one remaining matter, which is a standing issue, number 34, as 1130 1100 Byberry Road. Matt Marks is the appellant. Oh, you wait a minute, sir. You can't speak till you get to a microphone.
Sorry.
Okay, push the button, make sure the light green is. Okay, sir, give us your name.
Matthew Marks.
Okay, now what is your relationship to this property?
My father owns the property.
Okay, is your father present?
He's right behind me.
Okay, he has to present. You can't present for him.
All right.
Okay, wait a minute, just so, okay, let him come up and speak.
Sorry. Thank you.
All right, sir, give us your name, please.
John Marks,
John Marks.
M-A-R-K-S.
Okay, are you prepared to proceed with this hearing today?
Yes,
Okay, that's the only question we had. We needed to know who Matt Marks is because his name does not appear on the ownership records. Mr. Rulo, any issues?
No, the city would be prepared to proceed once it's called.
Okay, so we'll call you in due time. We aren't ready for you just yet. So give us a few moments. We'll call you back. All right, thank you, sir. Okay, sir, you can have a seat back in the gallery. We'll call you in a minute.
okay.
Thank you.
The complaint was issued.
No,
to
we'll
Matt
call
Marks.
you in a minute, so you can't put stuff on the record. Okay, does anyone else have any preliminary matters before we proceed to call our regular list? Seeing no hands, we will now move to call our regular list. Just for the moment, Mr. Motto, other than Mr. Rulo, any additional counsel in the room? Or appellates in the
Council, I
room?
don't know, we do have appellants in the room, sir, on matter number 5.
5,
And matter number 3 requires the interpreter.
okay, and those are the only 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Which matter is that?
For number 3 is the interpreter, sir.
Okay, ma'am, which case are you here for? Which number is that?
That's number 5, sir.
Okay, so those 2. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, all right, so let's go back to the list. Mr. Motor, let's call Mr. Marks, since he's here, he's been prepared.
I'm sorry, sir, what number have we gone back to?
Mr. Marks, which is number 34.
Number 34, okay. This is hearing appeal ending 1130 1100 Byberry Road, Matt Marks.
Okay, we know that for the record, Mr. John Marks is actually the person who will testify today and represent the interests of the appellant. Mr. John Marks, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. Mr. Rulo, do you have a witness today?
Yes, it is Inspector Nancy Griffin.
Okay, Ms. Griffith, please make yourself known to the board. I see her image. Please unmute. Raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Speak louder.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. You can lower your hand. Okay, Mr. Marks, I know that you haven't done that. I doubt if you've done this before. So let me just explain how we will proceed. The city will put on its case first, and they will have a witness. You may cross-examine that witness after he's done. That means asking any questions you want to ask based on their testimony, after which you can put on your case. And your case can include testimony from yourself and or witnesses. If you have witnesses, that person will also need to be sworn. After which we hear all testimony, any exhibits that are submitted, we will, the board will consider all that's been presented and then vote a decision, okay? All of these matters are being recorded by a court reporter as well as the system itself. And so that means only one person speaking at a time. And so it's important that you note that you allow the other person to complete his or her statement before you say anything. And we will not permit anyone to overtalk or to speak out of turn. Okay, Mr. Rulo, I think we're prepared to get started.
Just as a preliminary, Inspector Griffin, I think you might have some noise in the background. Some people talking, I'm not sure.
Just a minute.
I just wanted to note that. So for the sake of our court reporter,
Okay, I'm back.
thank you so much, Inspector Griffin. Okay, Inspector Griffin, what is your position with the Department of License and Inspections?
I am a code enforcement inspector.
And as part of that position, what are some of your roles and responsibilities?
To make sure that, okay, I lost my train of thought. Could you ask me that again?
It's okay. The Eagles just won, so I think we're all a little bit distracted. So, as part of your position with the Department of License and Inspection, what are some of your roles and responsibilities with the department?
To make sure that businesses in the city of Philadelphia are in compliance.
And that includes inspecting properties?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the property located at 1100?
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Are you familiar with the property located at 1100 Byberry Road?
Yes.
Okay, and have you conducted inspections at that property?
Yes.
With the board's permission, I'd like to share my screen.
Yes.
If my computer will cooperate with me today. Inspector, can you see what's been, oops, there it goes. Can you see what's been displayed on the screen as Exhibit A?
That was the violation notice that was issued to the property owner where I did the first inspection.
Okay, and I just wanted to clarify, so you can see what's displayed on the screen clearly right now?
No, it just says Exhibit A.
Yep, we're gonna move on to that. So I've moved down to the second page now. I'm gonna zoom in on that for the sake of everyone.
Just magnify that just a tiny bit, Mr. Rulo.
Can you see it better now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And are you familiar with this document?
Yes.
This is the notice of violation that was issued for that property. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the date of that notice is March 12th, 2024? Correct?
Yes. Yes.
All right, I've moved down to where we're describing the violations. Can you just briefly explain to the board what was found at the inspection of the property?
There was signage on the property at the time for a roofing business, and there was multiple commercial items being stored in the side rear yard at the time of the inspection.
Okay, and as a result of that, what violations were issued?
For the owner to obtain zoning.
And is that because this property was zoned as a single family residence?
Yes.
So the commercial business that appeared to be operating there would require that zoning and use permit, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to move down to what has been marked as City Exhibit B now. Can you see what's displayed on the screen here?
Yes,
And what is this?
that is the front of the property with the signage.
Okay,
Display.
and if we go down to the next photograph, what is shown here?
Just some commercial items being stored on the property.
Okay, and what leads you to conclude that those are commercial items?
Well, let me see what's in this picture. Well, I see some hand trucks and there was also at the time, I think it might be on another picture, like roofing materials and things like that.
I'm going to move down to the next photo. Are those some of the materials you noted?
Yes,
And we're going to go down to the next photograph. Are these additional materials that you just noted?
yes.
And
Those are just some, yeah,
and then this is another angle from the rear of the property. Is that correct?
yes,
And did you conduct a recent reinspection?
yes, I did.
And what did you find when you went out to the property at that time?
Actually, I think it's called a excavation truck. I'm not sure, but there was a commercial equipment on the property.
And were the roofing signs still there?
No, the signage was removed.
But you still saw some of these commercial vehicles there?
Yes.
And did you still see what appeared to be commercial items such as those dollies and ladders still?
I didn't see those. It was the cylinders were still there, and then the commercial vehicle.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing my screen unless the board has questions for the inspector.
Mr. Lewis, do you have any photos of the re-inspection?
I don't have those photos today, sir.
Okay,
I did upload the pictures to the case. So.
okay, all right, thank you. All righty, Mr. Marks, do you have any cross-examination of the inspector?
This is cross-examination. Mr. Marks, this is cross-examination.
I would just explain.
No. Do you have any questions based on her statements? You'll have an opportunity to explain. Do you have any questions for the inspector regarding any of her statements? That would be you, Mr. Marks.
No. No, I'll go easy on the inspector. She's just trying to do her job.
Okay, all right, thank you. Let's move on. Mr. Rulo, do you have any additional witnesses?
No, Chairman.
Okay. All righty. If there are no additional witnesses by the city, Mr. Marks, this is your opportunity to present your case.
Basically, my son lives there. He was doing work on the house and he mistakenly put up a sign while he was doing the work on the house. You can see the trees are being cut down and that's why there's a machine there, because he's trying to clear and clean up the property. It was very little in those photos. There's very little actual, besides the shingles which he used on the property, there's very little machinery showing. You can see a boat, you can see some beer kegs that are used as flotation devices for the boat. There is no business and it's being cleaned up.
Okay. Mr. Marks, in this instance, are you a professional roofer yourself?
No,
No? Okay, but your testimony is that your son is in the roofing business. And
no. My testimony is not that he's in the roofing business.
Okay.
My testimony is that he put up a sign when he was doing work at the property. And we put a stop to that. He was,
So you can't speak from the gallery?
he repaired the property, both buildings,
Okay,
and all that other stuff is gone.
okay,
Now he's taken down the rest of the trees, as you can see from the stump. And he does have a machine there to help take them out.
oh, so he has an excavator there that, okay, so Okay, all right. So you said he had a machine on the property that he was using to work at the property.
That's correct, sir.
Okay, all right. And how long have you owned this property, sir?
N- 91.
Okay, has it always been a single-family property?
Excuse me?
Has it always been used as a single-family residence?
At one time, it did have when I bought it, it had a duplex registration, which I dropped.
Okay, all right, thank you. But it's an investment property for you and your wife?
Yes, but Matt has been living
Okay.
there for quite a few years.
Okay, all right. Any cross-examinations, Mr. Rulo?
Yes, just very briefly. So good afternoon, sir. I forget what time it is. Is the property inside of the property being remodeled at all?
Not at this time.
If I may make a slight suggestion, perhaps I could have a conversation with Mr. Marks and his son out in the hallway to see if we can address this and it can be recalled. We could take
Sure,
a few
yeah.
minutes.
So we will do for the moment, we will, for the record, continue this and pass it. We'll come back before today's hearings are over. Okay,
Before it's continued, just one question.
wait a minute. Mr. Marks, are you okay having a conversation
fine
with the
with
city?
that.
Okay,
How is the property being used today?
He's living there.
Thank you.
okay, thank you. We will continue this matter and come back to it before we close our hearing today. Okay, thank you. Mr. Fernandez, are you representing the matter that includes counsel?
No, I am representing the matter involving the appellants that are.
Okay, that would be Mr. Rulo's matter, I take it?
I think like Mr. Johnson.
Oh, okay,
Yes, and I think he's coming up here.
okay.
I'll
Mr. Fernandez, which matter are you with?
The appellants, the appellant is Mona Walska. It's number 25 on the list.
25?
Number ending 940.
Okay, let's call that matter.
Hearing appeal ending 0940 for 1941 East Allegheny. Iowona Walaska is the appellant.
Okay, thank you. Okay, ma'am, if you could give us your name and raise your right hand to be sworn.
My name is Ivona Wolska. My residence is 1941 East Allegheny Avenue.
Okay, raise your right hand, ma'am, to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes,
All right, thank you. You can place your hand down. Mr. Fernandez, do you have any witnesses?
Yes, the city's witness is Inspector Tamika Blair.
Inspector Blair? Please unmute, raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. Okay, Mr. Fernandez, let's proceed.
Good afternoon, Inspector Blair. How are you today?
Good afternoon. I'm doing well, thanks.
Are you able to see the document I just shared on the screen?
Yes,
Let's see if I can zoom out just a little bit. Can you identify the document we're looking at?
it's a violation notice in order to correct
To whom is it addressed?
to Joseph and Iwona Walski,
And what is the date of the notice?
February 24th of 2024,
What's the property in violation cited by this notice? Excuse me.
1941 East Allegheny Ave.
So before we get into the substance of the violations, I first want to ask you, Inspector Blair, are you the inspector that wrote this violation?
Correct. At the time I was inspector, yes.
Okay, and are you supervisor now?
Yes.
My apologies, Supervisor Blair. I'll
Thank you.
make sure I get your well-earned title correct going forward.
Thank you.
Supervisor Blair, before we get into the specific violations, can you describe what were the violations of this property based on your recollection of the inspection?
Number one was the zoning. The property was was operating as a rooming house. There was no certificate of occupancy or zoning for the rooming house. There was no current rental license at the property. And there was one fire extinguisher that was sitting on the floor on the third floor. that had not been serviced, and there was one smoke alarm on the third floor.
Okay, I'm gonna scroll down. That's all the violations. The violations cited on the document you're looking at right now, are those accurate and correct to
Yes.
your recollection?
Yes.
I'm gonna scroll down now to city exhibits, page 3. Try to zoom out just a little bit more. Okay, Supervisor, what's this photograph of?
That is the front of the property located at 1941 East Allegheny Ave.
Okay, and I'll just zoom in so you'll be able to see. On the door there, does that say 1941?
Yes.
Not. And on the window there, actually, you know what? We're gonna have a better photo of that coming up. I'm gonna scroll down to city exhibits, page 4, zoom back out. Is that the door?
Yes.
Okay, continuing along, city exhibits, page 5. Was this on the front window of the property in question?
Yes, it was.
Okay, and can you describe what it is we're looking at?
It's a room for rent sign with a telephone number.
Okay, you said before that there was a zoning violation. Is it fair to call that zoning violation using a single-family dwelling as a rooming house?
Correct.
Okay, and was this sign that you observed on the front window of the property, did that contribute to your determination that the property was being used as a rooming house?
Partially, yes.
Was there other evidence once you accessed the interior and walked through the property that the
Yes.
residence was being used as a rooming house?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna keep going now. City exhibits, page 6. What are we looking at here?
This is a first floor bedroom. As you first enter the property, it wasn't occupied, but there was a mattress and other bedroom furnishings there.
Okay, we're gonna go to city exhibits, page 7. What are we looking at here?
This is a locked door on the second floor.
And you specified locked. What importance does the presence of a lock have?
Most family residents don't have locks on all the doors in the houses, to my experience as an inspector.
Is it fair to say that seeing this locked door on the first floor, or door with a lock on the first floor, was another piece of evidence that contributed to your ultimate determination that this was being used as a rooming house?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna keep going now to city exhibits, page 8. What are we looking at here?
This is another room in the property. I don't recall which floor it was on, but it had furnishings in it, but it was unoccupied.
Okay, going down now to city exhibits, page 9. What are we looking at here?
This is the second floor hallway. The door that's on the far left is the middle room, and the door that's at the front, on the right side of the picture, I'm sorry, is the front room. Both doors have locks.
And are those locks key locks?
Yes.
Okay. Continuing now to city exhibits, page 10. Looking at a photograph, what's that in the corner there?
That is the fire extinguisher on the third floor, sitting on the floor.
Okay. City exhibits, page 11. What are we looking at here?
These are 2 rooms that are located on the third floor.
And do these doors also have key locks?
Yes.
Okay. Inspector, that's the end of the photographs. All of these photographs are from when you initially wrote the violations. The date stamps say February 22nd, 2024. Is that when you conducted the inspection?
Yes.
Okay, and are all of these photographs a fair and accurate are they true and correct to what you recall observing at the time of that inspection?
Yes.
Okay, Inspector, I know you sent me some photos earlier this morning from a more recent inspection. I'm not going to present those to the board just yet. I can if it becomes crucial, but I do want to ask you a few questions about your inspection this morning. Actually, first let me confirm. When did you last inspect the property?
Yesterday.
Thank you. Sorry for the thank you for the correction.
Mhm.
And when you went to the property, what did you observe?
There were tenants in the property. There were three tenants in the property. They told me that the gas company had ruptured their water line. So they've been without water service for 2 weeks, and they were all being moved from that property to another property.
Did they give you access to the property?
Yes, they did.
When you walked through it, did you see anything that would make you reconsider the violations that you issued in February 2024?
No,
When you spoke to did you say 3 tenants that were there at that
yes.
time? When you spoke to them, did anything they said or did any of that make you think that you had issued violations incorrectly the first time?
I didn't hear you.
Did
I'm
anything
sorry.
That's okay. Can you hear me now?
It's still a little low.
Okay, I'll try to talk more directly into the microphone. Is that helping? Okay.
Yes.
I see the court reporter also nodding vigorously. Sorry about that. Supervisor Blair, I asked, when you spoke with the 3 tenants that you encountered at the premises today, did they say or do anything that made you reconsider the violations you had issued in February 2024?
No,
Based on those conversations, based on your reinspection of the property, do you believe that 1941 East Allegheny is currently being used as a rooming house?
yes.
Okay. I have no further questions for the inspector.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am, do you have any questions for the inspector?
Yes.
Yes, please.
When-
Make sure that the microphone is turned on. Is the green light on your microphone, ma'am? Okay,
What did she see to prove? So I have the tenants. And I need a proof.
okay, just ask the question and she will respond.
What proof? What proof?
Ma'am, listen to me.
Mhm.
Ask the question and then allow her to respond.
When you was.
You've asked the question, let her
um,
respond. Let her respond to your question.
Did you see any tenants when you were in 24? Did you see any tenants in my house?
Yes.
When? In
said-
last year?
You said in 2024?
Yes.
I think there was a gentleman on the 3rd floor.
No, was my husband.
No.
Ma'am,
He's the one
there's
that,
no, wait.
Okay.
This is how it will work. You will ask a question.
Okay.
She will respond.
Mhm.
You may not like the answer, but that's
Okay.
her response.
Okay.
Then you can ask additional questions if you choose to, okay?
Mhm.
All right, any additional questions?
So who was that man?
the tenant on the 3rd floor?
Yes. What's his name?
I don't know his name.
You didn't? Okay. Did you see my husband?
I did, yes.
And you was with my husband all the time?
Yes.
And my husband see that tenant?
Possibly, I don't recall.
What the tenant look like?
This was a while ago. He was a Latino male, an older Latino male, I believe.
And you don't have his name?
No,
You cannot prove it.
cannot prove his name. I don't know his name, no.
So you should take the, like a.
Ma'am, ask a question.
Okay. So, my husband is here, so he can.
That's not a question. You have to ask a question.
Wait, I have to a little think about what I want to
Now,
ask.
understand that you will be allowed to present your case in a moment, but
Yeah.
this is cross-examination time, so you're just asking questions based on her previous testimony.
And what this tenant told you?
I don't remember.
And did you see his room?
It was on the 3rd floor?
Yes. Did you see the 3rd floor room?
You mean the inside?
Yes.
No.
So how you can prove, so I rented the room upstairs?
There was a number 2 on the door. There was locked doors. There were there was that tenant there. There were locked rooms on the second floor and locked rooms on the first floor.
But did you see anybody there?
I believe the gentleman on the third floor, if my memory serves me correctly.
There's an objection.
But
Wait. There's an objection, so I need to hear the objection.
I would just object and say that the question has been asked and
Yes.
answered, and I think we're approaching badgering the witness. She's not having much of an opportunity to
Okay.
respond.
The objection is sustained. You've asked that question before and she's responded. So let's move on to additional questions, if you have any.
I have in another room, did you see the tenants?
No other rooms, no.
Ma'am, she's answered questions you've asked about all of the tenants that she saw, which
Okay.
ones she saw. She described him. Your questions have all been answered to the best of this inspector's ability.
Okay.
So please don't ask the same questions again.
Okay, any additional questions before we move on?
Yes. you
Okay,
can
what
move
additional
on.
questions do you have?
I have no questions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fernandez, any additional witnesses?
No additional witnesses and no redirects for Supervisor Blair.
Okay, thank you. All right, ma'am, this is your opportunity to put on your case.
Yep.
So tell us what your understanding of the facts are, okay?
Here is my drive license.
Wait. Did you
Here's my-
submit, well, listen to me. Did you submit that earlier so that the other side would have it?
She didn't ask me about this. I have the copy. Here's my drive
Oh,
license.
okay, what is that you're holding up?
Yeah, this is my drive license. I living in this house 37 years.
Okay.
It's my residential. I can explain why I have the locks on the door, because the Kensington area is very dangerous. So many people there, so they are breaking in. I'm not at home during the week because I'm helping my daughter with kids. I coming for the weekend, so I have to have the safe to have the everything locked because nobody is watching the house. So all my correspondence is in this house. It's mine residential house. It's not a rooming house.
Okay. How do you explain that sign that's on the window?
This is for another building. It's not for that. It's not for that. It's not for
Okay.
that building.
Mr. Fernandez, would you put that photograph up, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Bear with me for just one moment. Choking under the pressure.
It's for someone who
Okay,
own it.
wait.
Okay.
Okay, there was but there's another photograph that has a small sign on it that you didn't use for that purpose, but it showed a small sign.
The one up here,
Yes.
I can zoom in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not argue, so it's on my property.
Okay, wait. So the address is 1941 and the sign is posted on 1941,
Yeah, but
correct?
it's not for 1941. It's for other in other address. It's not
What
that.
other address?
I have other property, but
Pardon me?
it's not like a license, the sign. So I have for someone who wants to rent the room.
Okay, so what I'm asking you, if the sign is not for 1941, what property are you advertising with that sign?
I don't know. I have two friends
Okay.
so have the room. I don't know
Okay.
which one.
Do you own
was.
other property that you use as rental? Do you-
Yes.
How many other buildings do you own in the city of Philadelphia?
Right now we are about the 1941. I don't
Okay,
have
wait,
the-
that's not an answer. What I'm asking you is, do you own other rental property in the city of Philadelphia? And your answer was yes. And I'm asking you, how many rental properties do you own? So there's no answer, there's no response, okay? The witness is not responsive. Ma'am, anything else you want to share with us before we make a decision?
This is my address, my correspondence. The building is is empty. Nobody is in the building right now.
Wait. You said you live there, so it can't be
Yeah,
empty.
right now, even I am leaving this building, but is no water. I have here, last week, the water company shut off the waters. There's
Okay.
nobody in the building.
Okay, but at the time that the violation was written, which is the issue here on November 2024, were you living there then?
Yes,
Okay.
I living here 27 years.
Okay.
It's my residential home.
Okay, alrighty. Anything, any cross-examination, Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, but I will keep it very brief.
Okay.
Ms. Walski?
Yes.
Ms. Walski, when you submitted the appeal in this matter, actually, I'll direct your attention to the shared screen. Is this the appeal you submitted for this matter?
Yes,
Okay, did you say property is private home with family and guests?
yes,
Okay, Ms. Walski, you heard Supervisor Blair testify that she encountered an individual back in February 2024 that she identified, she believes to be a Latino male. Do you have any, were there any Latino males living in the property?
I have the witness, my husband. He was together with the Supervisor Blair. Nobody was in the house. He is here, he is a witness.
But this,
So
the question you were asked was whether or not there was another person living.
I have
in-
the friend who is living with me because when I am
Well,
not doing,
so the answer is yes.
this is my friend.
Okay, but
Yeah.
the answer is
Yes,
yes. Okay,
yes.
and he was your friend.
Yes,
Was he paying you any rent to live there?
just helping me with the, the bills.
Oh, so he was paying something to you when he was living there? Yes
No,
or
just, no,
He didn't pay you anything, no money.
no,
Okay,
Ms. Walski, was he living on the third floor?
no.
Okay, was anyone living on the third floor?
It was me on the third floor, the room on the front.
The room at the end of the hallway on the third floor?
Yes,
Okay, Ms. Walski, I'll direct your attention to the photograph on the screen. You can see it up there. Do you mean the door on the left or the right? Is one of these your bedroom door?
listen, the old house is.
but ma'am, please respond directly to the question. You can see it on the screen, just look in front of you.
One of these your bedroom door, Ms. Walski?
So on the left is a bathroom, yeah.
Okay, the door on the right-hand side in the back, was anyone living in there?
Where, over there?
Yeah,
It's
the
my
door.
friend.
Okay. I have no further questions for the witness,
Okay.
members of the board. We can
All right,
just
thank
drop-
you.
We can drop that line of inquiry.
Okay. Ms. Walski, you said you had a witness. Who would you like to
Yes.
call? Okay,
Yes,
who's that
it's-
witness? Have him
It's
come
my,
forward.
yes, my husband.
Have him
He
come
was
forward.
during the.
No, bring him forward.
Here,
He has
okay.
to come forward and put his name on the record and be sworn. Now, you can, what we will do, you can ask him questions and he will respond to your questions. Now, both of you, so bring, sir, pull up another chair. Pull up another chair.
Sorry, please, because my language is worse than my wife, so I don't understand everything. Slower, please. Thank you.
Okay, so what I'm asking, both of you, let me, before we even get, Ms. Walski, is he able to communicate clearly in English and understand English?
Have, so
I have to
sometimes
explain him
I need
what
the
you
help.
asked. I can explain to you.
Okay, just one moment.
Mhm. Chciałam cię pytać o to, co ona była na inspekcji, bo ona mówi, że widziała jednego lokatora. Tam żadnego lokatora nie
Ale że
było.
do sąsiedniego domu
Ale-
przychodzą
ale-
i przynosili.
Ale ty byłeś z nią cały czas, nie było nikogo.
A,
Masz
to
to
tu
powiedzieć.
rozmawiamy.
Ma'am, this is what we will do. Sir, give us your name. Tell us your name.
Joseph Wolski.
Mr. Walsky, raise your right hand so you may be sworn. Do you swear or affirm that you will be truthful in your testimony today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Place your hand down. Okay, ma'am, ask him questions in English because it's been recorded by the court reporter. And sir, please respond in English so that we can hear your response. Any questions you want to ask him?
During the inspection, when the supervisor was doing inspection last year, you was all the time with her? Cały czas byłeś z nią? Jak ona była?
Ma'am, please speak English. Don't speak, I believe that's
All the
Polish, but
time? You was all the time with her when she was take a picture and
Let
looking?
me remind, because I don't remember very well. I was in this building, she came, she make many pictures, and she show you all pictures. Another rooms was big mess, nobody, because it's empty, was big mess. She no show you these pictures. Only one room downstairs.
Okay.
And another hallway on the third floor.
so your testimony is that you were with the inspector when she came to the building?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, thank you. Any more questions?
Do you see any tenants during she talking to the tenants when she was on inspected?
That's not my tenant, next building. That's my relative. And the tenant was visit me. They many times bring some food from public place. And they try to help for everybody.
Okay.
But that's a person from next building.
Okay, so your testimony is that the tenant really lived at another building, not in your building. The person lived in another building.
The person that was from another building.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anything else? Any cross-examination, Mr. Fernandez?
No, Mr. Chairman, no cross.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Walensky, I do have a question for you. The residents who have to move, the persons, whoever they are, they have to move for no water. Where are they moving? You don't know? Okay. Also, do you have a rental license for any other buildings in the city of Philadelphia?
Yes, I have.
No, I'm asking her.
Yes.
You have rental license? How many buildings do you have rental license for?
One.
No, sir, please. Ma'am, Ms. Walensky?
One.
One other building? What is the address of that one other building?
18 Richmond Street.
Excuse me. Excuse me, sir. You can't have that conversation while we have somebody recording the conversation, so you can't talk to her while she's testifying. Give us that address again, please.
3018 Richmond Street.
3018 Richmond. Okay, that's in the city of Philadelphia, correct?
Yes.
And how many apartments?
4.
4 apartments?
Yeah, but one is occupied my son, so it's 3.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I assume you're collecting rent from your son as well as all the other tenants?
No,
Okay, that's 3818 Richmond or 38?
3018.
3018. Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else?
Mr. Chairman, I would ask to very briefly recall Supervisor Blair for rebuttal. I'll keep it to 2
Okay.
questions.
All right, thank you.
Supervisor Blair, can you unmute yourself, please?
I'm no longer on mute. I can't hear you though.
Thank you.
You need to pull the microphone.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor, I'm going to put the 2024 inspection aside momentarily. It was 10 months ago, and obviously it's been some time. And I'm going to ask you just a few questions about your inspection from yesterday. Supervisor Blair, how confident are you that the people you spoke to yesterday are tenants of 1941 East Allegheny and not one of the neighboring buildings?
Very confident.
Why is that?
They said that they lived there, that they've been without water for 2 weeks, and that they were moving to another property owned by the, by the Walskis.
Okay, no further questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anything else that anyone want to put on the record before we vote? Ms. Walski, any additional information you want to share with us? Mr. Fernandez, any final argument?
Very briefly, I would say that a he said, she said dispute like this comes down to credibility. And I think that Ms. Walski and to a lesser extent, Mr. Walski were extremely inconsistent with their testimony today. I think that they were not able to keep their story straight, to speak frankly. And so I would ask the board to find that Supervisor Blair's testimony was credible and rule for the city.
Thank you very much. Okay. Is there anything else on the board? Anything else on the board? Okay. All right. Given that, ma'am, you may want to stay until we complete our, ma'am, please have a seat. You weren't finished yet. Yeah.
Do you have anything else you'd like the board to know before we vote?
Okay, all righty. We will now poll the board regarding HA 2024-00094019141 East Allegheny Avenue. Iwana Walska, city affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed. City affirmed.
Ms. Walska, the unanimous vote of the board is city affirmed, which means you lost your appeal. You may appeal our decision. If you want information or need information as to how to do that, check with the administrator. They will give you the information you need in terms of how to appeal a decision of the board. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
How I will get the decision?
Pardon me?
How I will get the
Oh, they'll
decision?
send you a letter. They'll send you a formal notice of decision. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the
you're
board.
welcome. Please call,
I think I will excuse myself.
yes, you're excused.
Thank you.
And witnesses are excused as well. Thank
Very
you.
nice and a little bit surreal
Right.
to see you in person. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Recalling matter number 34, hearing appeal ending 1130 1100 Byberry Road, Matt Marks.
Okay, we're recalling this matter. Mr. Rulo, where are we?
Yes, so we're just able to have a conversation with Inspector Griffin in the hallway. I think that if we could get a brief continuance in this matter, I think that this is going to be a case that's not going to be returning to the board if there can be a coordinated inspection. They've exchanged information and are going to set up that inspection right away to walk through some of the things the board heard today. So we would just jointly request that continuance because I think we got a resolution here.
So this is a continuance for re-inspection.
That's correct.
Okay, Mr. Marks, is that your position? We have to have something audible in the record.
That's my position.
Okay, thank you very much for your participation. Have a good afternoon. The record will reflect this matter is continued for re-inspection. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Hit the button. Mr. Johnson?
Good afternoon. It's Christopher Johnson, with the city of Philadelphia. I'm here on number 5.
Number 5, we will call that matter.
This is hearing appeal ending 0185 2501 South Christopher Columbus Boulevard. Danielle, I'm sorry, which was?
Bagwell.
Bagwell was your Esquire is present.
Okay, all righty. Ms. Backlund, would you put your name on the record, please?
Yes, my name's Danielle Bagwell. I'm with Mako Goldcatcher and Fox,
And who are you representing?
representing Delaware Avenue Enterprises, Inc.
Okay, just one moment, please.
I'm sorry. Our list has a Suzanne Schiller. Your name is again?
Danielle Bagwell.
Would you spell your last name?
Sure, Bagwell. Miss Schiller is my colleague. We're at the
Oh,
same
okay.
law firm.
Danielle Bagwell, okay. Bagwell. My apologies. Okay. All right,
If it-
Mr. Johnson, why don't we proceed?
If it please the board, I think we have an agreement in the matter. This is a appeal related to a large structure. It's 2501 South Christopher Columbus Boulevard. It is formerly Pico Power Generation Plant. It's a large building that is under a consent order for security at the building while they undergo remediation for asbestos inside. And the violations here were written as fire code violations for the exterior of the property as well as graffiti. The intention of the owners is to demolish the building eventually. So all of those issues will be taken care of, but it's just a question, a matter of time. We've come to an agreement in the matter, while work would be ongoing in the coming year, that it would be marked as city affirmed with a 12-month stay of enforcement.
Okay, city affirmed 12-month stay enforcement. Ms. Bagwell, would you mind putting on the record your position in this?
Yeah, we're in agreement to the stay of enforcement. The Delaware Avenue Enterprises the goal is the demolition of the building that's shared with the city. It's a complicated project because of the asbestos, so there's another demolition underway, and if that goes well, the hope is to turn their attention to this building next.
Okay, so we have a settlement, city affirmed with 12-month stay of enforcement. Yes. Both parties agree?
Yes, agreed.
Okay, thank you very much. That will complete that matter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank you.
afternoon. Everyone is excused.
Thank you.
Mr.
Okay.
Woodson?
Yes, sir.
They've indicated that there was an agreement to number 3, and that is the manner we're holding the interpreter for.
Okay, so let's have all the parties identify themselves.
This hearing appeal ending 533-16101 Palmetto Street. Xiomara Rodriguez is the appellant.
Good afternoon, Board. Michelle Reinhardt for the City of Philadelphia.
Okay, we have, who's representing the appellant?
She is here. However, we may need the interpreter to.
Okay,
Who's
the interpreter?
This is Stephen Aubain, Aubain, and my ID is YM288.
Okay, thank you, sir. Raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Sir, do you swear to faithfully translate from English to Spanish, Spanish to English, the proceedings regarding 6101 Palmetto Street, Xiomara Rodriguez?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. And so what we're going to do, sir, in order to make sure this is clear on the record for the appellant, we're going to read it in again and ask that you interpret everything that's said. Mr. Model?
Yes, sir. This is hearing appeal ending 5331 for the property located at 6101 Palmetto Street.
Así que esta es la apelación que termina en 5331 para la propiedad en 6101 Palmetto Street.
Okay, I'm calling Ms. Xiomara Rodriguez. Are you present?
Xiomara Rodríguez está presente.
Correcto, sí.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Rodriguez, raise your right hand so that you may be sworn.
Señora Rodríguez, levante la mano derecha para que pueda ser jurada.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give today be the truth so help you God?
Juro y afirma que el testimonio que dará el día de hoy será la verdad bajo los ojos de Dios.
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, city, what is your position in this? What are we doing, Ms. Reinhardt?
Así que ciudad, ¿cuál es su posición y qué van a hacer con este caso?
Following an opportunity to talk in a breakout room, we have reached a settlement in order to affirm the violations and to give
Well,
a
let the
stay
interpreter
of
catch up with
enforcement.
you. Let the interpreter catch up.
Así que siguiendo nosotros reuniéndonos en una sala separada, pudimos llegar a un acuerdo y afirmar la violación.
What is the settlement?
¿Y cuál es el acuerdo?
It is to affirm the violation and to give a 1-year stay of enforcement.
Es para afirmar la violación y darle un año de estado de cumplir.
Okay, so the record will reflect the settlement of city affirmed 1-year stay of enforcement.
Así que el registro refleja el acuerdo y de un año y esfuerzo de acuerdo.
That concludes all of our matters regarding 6101 Palmetto.
Y
Thank
ese concluye con todo del caso de la calle Palmetto.
Ms. Rodriguez, you're excused. You may leave if you like.
Y ya, señora Rodríguez, ya se puede ir de la reunión si desea.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Interpreter, I will check. I don't believe we have any additional requirements for interpreter. Now, Mr. Marlowe, do we have any need? Okay, sir, we thank you for your service. You may enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you for using the service. Interpreter disconnecting. Have a great day.
Okay. Okay. Mr. Galusa, you have your hand up?
Yes, hello again. I wanted to bring the board's attention to case number 8 on our list. That is HA 2024-000-822 at 5032 Osage Avenue with Jameel Hawthorne as the appellant. The city and Mr. Hawthorne have come to a resolution on this matter. That resolution is a city affirm with a 90-day stay of enforcement. And the agreement will be transmitted to the board as soon as it is signed.
Okay, thank you. Is the appellant present? Jameel Hawthorne, are you present?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Okay, I don't see anyone.
Oh, he just responded, Mr.
Oh,
Woodson.
okay, yeah, there you are. Okay, sir, do you agree with the position of the city just put on the record?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, this matter is resolved based on a settlement that's been announced for the record. Gentlemen, have a good afternoon. Mr. Hawthorne, have a good
Thank
afternoon.
you.
You excuse.
You as well. Thank you.
Okay. All righty, Mr. Motto, what do we have next?
That brings us to number 9 on the list, hearing appeal ending 0836 8010 through 80112 Rugby Street. Michael and Ivana Rappaport.
Okay, who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, Maria Kino on behalf of the city.
Okay, Ms. Reno, and the appellants, is that Michael and Avina Rappaport? Are you present?
Aniva, yes, hello, we're here.
I'm Michael.
Okay, thank you. My apologies for probably mispronouncing your name. So if you would do this for us, if you would correctly pronounce your name for us.
Oh, Aniva?
Aniva? Okay.
Yes.
And Michael, is that correct?
Right.
Correct, okay. So between the two of you, you need to decide who will be the spokesperson during this hearing. Your names, only 2 names on the deed?
Yes.
Okay, so Aniva, you will be the spokesperson, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, so please raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. You can place your hand down. Okay, Ms. Aquino, do you have any witnesses today?
Yes, Mr. Martin Higgins.
Okay, Mr. Higgins, are you present?
Yes,
Okay, Mr. Higgins, it appears that you're in a vehicle. Are you parked in a safe place?
yes, I'm parked in a parking lot.
Okay, thank you. Raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes,
All right, thank you. You can place your hand down. Okay, Mr. Aquino, please proceed.
Thank you. Administrator Higgins, could you please state where you're currently employed?
I am employed with the Community Life Improvement Program. I also work for the Department of Licenses and Inspections.
And I'm sorry, could I also please ask you to state your name for the record?
Sure, it's Martin Higgins.
And how long have you been with the Community Life Improvement Program?
I've been with the city for going on 27 years with the Community Life Improvement Program for the last 18.
And what are your duties and responsibilities in your role?
So I perform inspections and also attend the court hearings.
Are you familiar with the property located at 8010 Rugby Street?
Yes,
And have you had an opportunity to review the case file for that property?
yes,
Did an initial inspection occur at 8010 Rugby Street on February 6th, 2024?
yes,
And based on that inspection, was a notice of violation written?
yes.
Board permission to share my screen?
Yes, please. Nothing's happened yet, so there we are.
Sorry. Thank you for your patience, excuse me. Okay, Mr. Higgins, I'm showing you what's been marked as I'm sorry, am I sharing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Higgins, showing you what's been marked as City Exhibit 2.
Yes.
Do you recognize this?
Yes, it's a violation notice in order to correct.
And when was this violation notice issued?
February 7th, 2024.
And to whom was it issued?
To Michael Rappaport.
And what violations were cited in this notice?
There was a trash violation as well as an overgrowth violation.
And just drawing your attention to the violation of Property Maintenance Code, Section 15302.4. That states that premises and exterior property shall be maintained free from weeds or plant growth in excess of 10 inches, correct?
Yes.
And what is the correct by date on this notice?
February 20th, 2024.
Did you take photographs at this initial inspection?
Yes.
Showing you now what's been marked as City Exhibit 3. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes, this is the rear of 8010 to 12 Rugby Street.
And does this photograph fairly and accurately show what the property looked like on February 6th, 2024, the date of the initial inspection?
Yes.
And I'm just going to scroll down to the rest of this Exhibit 3. Okay. Going back to this first photo on page 8. Mr. Higgins, could you please describe the conditions shown in this photograph?
You can see that there's overgrowth and an accumulation of debris on the rear of the property.
And what is the date of the photograph? The photograph was taken?
February 6th, 2024 at 2:29 p.m.
Continuing on to the next photograph in this exhibit. Could you please describe the conditions shown in this photograph?
It would be the same, the accumulation of debris and the overgrowth.
And the date that this photo was taken?
February 6th, 2024 at 2:29 p.m.
Moving on to the next photograph in this exhibit. Could you please describe the conditions shown?
Again, it shows the overgrowth and the accumulation of debris. This is the side of the property right off of one of the side doors.
And that photograph was also taken on February 6th at the initial inspection?
Yes.
Okay. Showing the next photo in Exhibit 3. Could you please describe what's shown in this photograph?
So there is an evergreen bush in the front of the property there, and the growth has now basically put pedestrians out into the street, not being able to access the sidewalk.
And in this next photograph, does it show, could you please describe what's shown in this photograph?
So you'll see the curb cut for the handicap ramp there, and it's completely blocked.
So, and so this walkway is impeded by the overgrowth, correct?
Correct. That is correct.
And do the conditions photographed, the conditions shown in City Exhibit 3, do they violate the code?
Yes, they do.
And did the city go back out on March 2nd, 2024 to inspect 8010 Rugby Street?
Yes.
Okay, showing now what's been marked as City Exhibit 4. Do you recognize this photograph?
Yes.
And could you please describe what's shown? Are you able to see my cursor?
Yes.
Could you please describe what's depicted in this portion of the photograph?
So this is a picture, I can't believe, I want to say like Mount Pleasant, I might be wrong. But it's going from the rear back up to that front curb from my initial inspection pictures, and you can still see that the bush is impeding the sidewalk.
And this could you please tell the board what date this photograph was taken?
March 9th, 2024 at 9:57 a.m.
I'm sorry, was that March?
I'm sorry, March 2nd, 2024 at 9:57 a.m.
And to clarify, the bush depicted at the end of this sidewalk, that's located on 8010 Rugby Street, correct?
Yes.
And showing the final photograph in City Exhibit 4, can you please describe what's shown there?
So this is a picture taken from the front of the property on Rugby Street to show that the bush is impeding the entire
Thank you, Mr.
sidewalk.
Higgins. Thank you, Mr. Higgins. No further questions at this time. I would ask that City Exhibits 1 through 4 be admitted into evidence, and I offer the city's witness for cross.
So moved for submission of the exhibits. Also, Ms. Aniva Rappaport, do you have any questions for the inspector based on her testimony? Based on his testimony?
Oh, yes. Have you been to the property since last year?
Yes, I was actually there yesterday.
Okay. And did you see that we cut down the tree? That the tree has been completely removed? Well, it's been basically halved, and the half that was impeding the sidewalk has completely disappeared. I have photos of it as well.
Okay, what you were asking the question, let him respond to your question.
So yes, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Woodson.
What was the date, Mr. Higgins, of that re-inspection, that last inspection?
I was there yesterday.
Okay. And your answer to the appellant's question is whether or not you can notice the fact that the evergreen was reduced in size.
So yes, the evergreen was reduced in size, but it was the clip program that went out and trimmed the bush back in May.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. I actually have,
Well,
I'm
see
sorry.
now, ma'am, that isn't
Yes.
how we do it. You ask
Sorry.
him questions, he responds. When it's your turn to put on your case, you can then state the facts that you understand to be the accurate representation of things.
Okay, I have no further questions.
No further questions? Okay. I will ask Mr. Higgins, what was the date of that re-inspection, that last inspection?
I'm sorry, February 9th of this year.
Okay, alrighty. And also you indicate that CLIP did some remediation at that address. What date was the CLIP remediation?
I want to say that it was in or around May 27th of 2024.
May 27th of 2024?
Yes.
And when that occurred, is there notice sent to the owner of record?
So we sent the original notice. We went out and did the re-inspection. And then we do have an abundant amount of properties that we do go out and abate. And we basically go into a zip code.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. No. I'm asking, did you formally inform the owner of record that abatement had taken place and the cost of that abatement?
No, we did not inform them that the abatement took place.
Okay, thank you. Alrighty. All right. Does the city have any additional witnesses?
No additional witnesses.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry,
Alrighty.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
may I just briefly redirect?
yes.
Mr. Higgins, did CLIP bill the property owners at 8010 Rugby Street for the abatement work?
No, we did not.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty. Okay, Ms. Aniva Rappaport, it's your opportunity to present your case.
Yes, the gentleman from CLIP, it was a younger gentleman that came, and I spoke with him, and he gave us an opportunity to remediate that ourselves, and we did. I have,
Okay, so now when you do that, you have to sort of give us some dates and times. So we
Okay.
can keep up with what you-
Okay, I have it, I have the photos on my phone. Let me just give me 1 second. I can go ahead. Actually, it's on my other screen. Hold on a second.
Did you send those
can go
over to
ahead.
the city law department as evidence?
I can. I haven't done
I
it
mean,
as of
have you
yet.
done that? You didn't
No,
do
I have
that?
not. No, I
Okay.
have not done that.
Okay, can you possibly share your screen?
Yes, let me see if I can. Now, I'm not that savvy with the technology. Just give me 1 second. Let's see. Okay, let me see if I can. Wait, can I share my screen here? But then my screen is different than what. Okay, hold on. Share screen. Okay. I guess that's good. Is that entire screen is fine? Okay, share. Okay, and then I cannot see anything. Can you see this?
Yes.
This photo, this was taken, oh gosh, let me make sure I actually have the date here. Let's see, I go to details. This was taken March 11th, 2024.
Okay, just 1 moment. On March 11th, 2024, photo,
Mhm.
okay, shows bush that's been reduced in size.
Yes, and we did that ourselves.
Okay, when did you do that work?
We did that on March 11th, 2024.
Okay. And you did that work on March 11th?
Yes, March 11th, 2024. We went ahead
Okay.
ourselves. We had an opportunity. The clip, I will say, clip did come by, and they gave us the opportunity to remediate that ourselves, and we proceeded to do that on the same day, March 11th.
Okay, so Clip did visit?
Yes.
On the March 11th, but you did not take any action? You did the
No.
action?
Yes, we did ourselves.
Okay. May I ask you this? Why had not it been done before?
That is a very valid question. I guess, well, number one, we didn't really have the right tools to do that. So we had to go purchase a Roby tool from Home Depot that was strong enough and robust enough in order to do that, because it's a very, very large, it's like a tree / bush, like half bush. So we had to get the right equipment to do that. And so once we went to Home Depot and purchased that, we were able to do the work ourselves.
Okay. Anything else you want to present today?
I do have, let's see. Do have a picture of one part, but that's going in the opposite direction. So I don't think that'll be helpful. So that's the only picture I have of the remediation.
Do you have any
of the
photos
tree.
of the rear and side of the property? Because that was also part of the violation.
Let me, oh, that's my kid. Wrong person. Sorry, that's my child. I have this portion pointing out from where the issue was. We have some of our lawn equipment here. And then I'm trying to see if I have anything else that's not. I'm going to stop sharing for 1 second and see if I can find. So my my son's like taking pictures of himself. So if I can find. Stop sharing other photos. Okay. Oh, yes. No, that's not the right thing. No, that's just sorry. I just took photos of the tree. I'm sorry.
All right. Anything else?
So
any additional testimony you want to add today?
So I do. That's the sidewalk. Oh, that's the sidewalk. So the sidewalk is clear now, but that's not the question at hand. We did go ahead and cut back a lot, some other overgrown as well. But I took pictures of the tree because I know that was the most egregious thing, because it was impeding pedestrians being able to move. So that's what I did take a picture of. But the other things we have been cleaning up, we have been going to drop off extra refuse. The photos of City Exhibit 3, I know those are refuse containers, not open refuse on the ground. So that was a concern as well.
Okay, maybe I can help this. That was
Yes,
more
please
directed
do.
questioning.
Yes,
The
that's
photos that we saw earlier that showed debris along the side of the house and overgrowth, and also showed a number of containers at the rear of the house with the automobile. Has all of that been cleaned up?
We still have our main trash can, our recycling bin, and the metal trash can, but the white trash cans have been removed, and also the red crate has been removed, and also the white container with the glassware that we were trying to keep safe from breaking for recycling has also been removed as well.
Okay, and what about the automobile and the items that were stored along the side of the property?
The automobile is registered to me and it has its license, so
Okay.
it's on the property.
Okay, is it operable? Does it drive?
We have moved it before, so it's been some time. I bought that, I purchased that when I was 20, and I have 3 kids now, so I no longer can drive that, just size wise. So we have been having that on the property, but it is registered to me.
Is it insured?
So it is. Is it insured?
That was not one of them.
Oh yeah, well that's not the topic at hand though. We already. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yes.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Because we're taking a record, the two of you can't have side conversations because that confuses the record.
I understand, sorry.
Okay, so let us move on. So the debris that was along the side of the house. Yeah, let me finish.
Yeah.
The debris that was along the side of the house has not been removed or has been removed?
On the side of the house, most of that is our lawn equipment to maintain the property and Home Depot bags for leaf collection.
Well, there's a number of other things too. It isn't just bags and lawn equipment. But so the photographs that we saw earlier, but I'll tell you what I'd like to do. Anything else you want to add before we redirect to Mr. Higgins?
No, that's all. Well, as of right now.
I mean, this is your opportunity to put on your case. So if you have anything else you want to add.
Okay, so we would like to, let's see, I did write some notes. I have to look at my other screen. Backyard, okay, so trash receptacles, the items under our canopy are rakes and leaf blowers and things like that that are used to maintain the property and not trash. And also my child's stroller was also one of the things that was taken, took a picture of my child's stroller.
You can't store that stuff inside in the garage or anything?
Well, I walk my middle son to school every day, so
No,
it's just
the leaf blower and other things.
Oh, the leaf blower. We probably could do that. Some of the stuff is sharp, and we have I have a 4-year-old, so some of the things is just safe for us to keep outside. But the things like the leaf blowers and I guess the bags, we could bring some of those in. But the things that are sharp, have sharp edges, I would prefer to potentially leave those outside just for safety issues for my children. And then also, we already talked about the tree and that we cut that down. So as of right now, I have nothing else.
Okay, ma'am, how long have you and your husband owned that property?
We have been here since 2009, 2010.
And that was when you first moved in?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else from anyone?
That vehicle, you said it's currently registered. Is it drivable?
Yes, it can be driven. We have the license plate for it. It doesn't, of
The
course.
license is current?
The license plate, yes, yes.
It's current?
I think
The
so.
registration is current, the driver's license is current, the state inspection, you've had it state inspected within the last year?
No, the state inspection is not current. Like I said, I did. It's a 1998, so we're probably going to be on the verge of trying to get it slated as a classic car, so we don't have to go through the inspection process just because of the age of it. But right now, it is. We have the license plate that is the license plate for the vehicle, and it is parked inside of our property. We don't do any work on it. It's not falling apart. It's just not suitable for the family anymore.
You've answered my question.
I have a question for Ms. Rappaport. I think you may have already answered, just stated that the vehicle is not in a dilapidated condition. Are the tires inflated with air, and is there any debris in?
The tires are
around it?
inflated. Yeah, the tires are inflated. We do have air in the tires. We did have, I will be honest with you, we did have an issue in the neighborhood with kids coming and breaking windows. So we had our main two vehicles, our windows were broken, and they also came to the property and they did knock out one of the brake lights on the Mustang. We did have issue, and we filed a police report about those things as well. So we did have issue with that.
Thank you.
Okay, does the city have any cross-examination?
No cross.
Okay, I would like to recall Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins, on your last inspection, what is your understanding of the nature, well, the status of progress to clearing those debris on the side and the rear of the house?
I will say they've done a lot of work with the vegetation, but the debris is still on the back end of the house and the side under the canopy there.
Okay, did you take any photographs of the remaining debris?
I did.
Are they available for the record today, Ms. Aquino?
I can pull them up.
Thank you.
I would actually think I have to send them to you.
Oh, they're not any clips.
No.
Okay, so we don't have them for today's hearing. Okay, all right, thank you. Anything else from anyone? Okay, thank you very much. Any final argument, Ms. Aquino?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So it's the city's position that the violations were validly issued. The code requires that all exterior and interior property and premises be free of accumulation of rubbish and garbage and free of plant growth in excess of 10 inches. The city's evidence presented today shows that the conditions of the property as they existed on February 6, 2024, the date of the initial inspection, violated the code. The photographs show the accumulation of rubbish at the property and the plant overgrowth well in excess of 10 inches. The plant was so overgrown that it completely impeded the walkway, and notably there is a curb cut in that portion of the sidewalk that was obstructed. Whether the violations are currently present is not relevant for the purposes of today's hearing. The purposes of today's hearing is to determine whether the violations cited for this property on February 7th, 2024 were validly issued. The inspector's testimony and the photographs presented showed that the conditions did violate the code. And based on appellant's own testimony, the appellant doesn't contest that the violations were present at the property. For those reasons, the city respectfully requests a holding of city affirm.
Okay, thank you. I do have one question. I should have asked this earlier, so forgive me, Ms. Aquino. Ms. Rappaport,
Yes.
what is the nature of your appeal if you are contesting that conditions existed at the time of the notice was written? What is the nature of your appeal?
So the appeal, so I have that here. So I was appealing that we did not have the refuse on our, when the refuse, I was interpreting that as open refuse, like trash. Okay? We have trash receptacles on the property, but at that time we did not have any refuse, open refuse on the property. And it says that it has to be free of accumulation of rubbish or garbage, but those things were, the pictures that were shown showed just receptacles for trash, not trash itself. And then also when it came to the PM 302.4 with the weeds, it says here, weeds shall be defined as all grasses, annual plants, vegetation other than trees or shrubs provided. That is a tree and a shrub and is an evergreen and not an annual. So so I was just trying to do my best to interpret what the violations meant and to show that the specific things that were determined with our property did not fulfill those violations.
So you don't believe that the property, the growth of that evergreen that blocked the wheelchair ramp, the handicap access ramp, and the sidewalk itself, that condition didn't exist?
But it says it covers weeds.
I mean, just
defined as
look
all
at it.
grasses, annual plants, and vegetation other than trees or shrubs.
Okay, but also you're blocking access by a handicapped person and for anyone walking along the sidewalk.
Right, but the violation doesn't mention that. It just
So
talks
you don't
about.
you don't believe that condition is, you believe that's an acceptable condition?
Well, obviously we did trim it back, so.
But that wasn't the
We
answer
did
to my question,
We did trim the tree back.
because that is not an acceptable condition, correct?
That's not an acceptable condition, but the violation itself doesn't specifically state accessibility to the sidewalk. It just says overgrown. It doesn't specify where. They were also talking about the overgrown on our property that doesn't impede the sidewalk in any condition at all. So
Ms. Rappaport, when pedestrian sidewalks have the handicap ramps placed in, under the Accessibilities Act, you're not to block it. It
I
doesn't have to
understand.
state it in the violation, you're not to block it. And the last sentence in your appeal says, it's an evergreen tree and we should not have to cut it down, but you did. And the chair was asking you that. You don't see that it has a need for it, and I'm expressing that it's a accessibility ramp, and that's under the state law, accessibilities. You cannot block them or impede them.
Yes, but this is city ordinances, not state.
But the state accessibility code takes precedence over that in all
Okay,
areas.
well, where we definitely fulfill the state code because that tree has been cut back.
Okay.
Thank you. We're going to go off the record for 2 minutes, and we will be back and we will render a decision. Good, thank you very much. We're back on the record for HA 2023-000836. Michael and Aniva Rappaport, having reviewed the record, both the information submitted by the appellants as well as the city, we will note, Mr. and Mrs. Rappaport, one of the key issues here is the clearance of the public walkway. As property owners, it's your responsibility to maintain that walkway space for your neighbors, and particularly your neighbors who may be handicapped, and any citizen who may be handicapped. So that's your responsibility to do that. And but we also note that you've made appropriate changes within about 35 days of the notice. Okay, so we will poll the board on this matter. Appeal sustained.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So much.
Well, we aren't finished voting yet.
Oh, sorry.
You don't know
Sorry.
what each person has to vote, so you may not.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Appeal sustained.
Appeal sustained.
Appeal sustained.
Okay, thank you very much. The majority of, the unanimous vote is appeal sustained, so you won your appeal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, have a good afternoon.
You too. Thank you.
What is our next matter, Mr. Moto?
Next matter is number 16 on the list, sir. Hearing appeal ending 0875-4671 Griscom Street. Chen Yu Wang is the appellant.
Okay, who is Mr. Rolo? Okay,
Good afternoon, board members. Michael Rulo, RU LLO on behalf of the city.
okay, Mr. Wang, Chen Yu Wang. Anyone present representing the address of 4671 Griscom Street? Anyone present? Okay, what time do we have, Mr. Pincus?
2:51 PM.
Okay, Mr. Rulo, no one's responding. What is your pleasure?
Requesting a city affirm failure to appear.
Okay, we will poll the board regarding HA 2024-000875-4671 Griscom Street, Chen Yu Wang, city affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for failure to appear.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
Thank you very much. That concludes that matter.
And that concludes my business for the day. Thank you.
Have a good day. Good afternoon, sir.
Nice to see you.
Mr. Rolo, I'm sorry, Mr. Moto, what's our next matter?
Next matter, sir, being number 19 on today's list, 2051 South Redfield Street.
Okay, who's representing the city? Okay, no one speaking up? So, Mr. Rulo, that may be you by default.
Hi. That one is Mr. Begelman's case, but I can cover it. It's the appeal of HA 2024-000908, 2051 South Redfield Street.
Okay, Charmaine Mitchell is the appellant. Is Charmaine Mitchell present? Charmaine Mitchell.
No one in the room with that name, sir. The appellant's listed 2051 South Redfield Street is their address. Notice of this hearing was sent to that address on 1/9/25.
Thank you. Okay, what time do we have, Mr. Pincus?
2:53 PM.
2:53 PM. Mr. Johnson, no one's responding. What is your pleasure?
The city requests to be marked as city affirmed failure to appear.
Thank you very much. We will poll the board on HA
Hello?
2020. I'm sorry, someone just spoke up.
Hello?
Hello, ma'am, your name?
Charmaine Mitchell.
Oh, Ms. Mitchell, we were about to decide. You didn't speak up. You didn't
Oh.
identify yourself on there's no
Okay.
name on your, ma'am, listen to me. There's no name identified on your image. It just says LGE. I'm not sure what that represents. And
Oh, the
so-
phone. I'm sorry.
Yep, so can't interpret that. You have to have your name so we know who you are. And that's why I kept calling the name. So you're
Oh.
present?
Yes,
Okay, and your relationship to 2051 South Redfield Street?
owner.
You're the owner? Do you reside at that address?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Johnson, are you prepared to proceed?
Yes.
Okay, all righty. We will proceed in this matter today. Ms. Mitchell, would you mind changing the label on your name? Do you know how to do that?
No, I don't.
Okay, we will do that in just one moment. We'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
In the meantime, Ms. Mitchell, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Johnson, what do you have?
The city is going to call Inspector Sean Howard.
Okay, Inspector Howard? Please unmute, raise your hand so that you may be sworn.
Which one? What hand?
Right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much. You lower your hand. Okay, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, if it please the board, can I share my screen?
Yes. Mr. Howard, it appears that you have a lot of background noise. So if you could ask your work colleagues to keep the volume down.
Give me a second.
William exhibits.
I am. Hello?
Yes.
Hi.
All right, is that better?
Yes, that's a bit better. Okay, Mr. Johnson.
Inspector Howard, can you please tell us where you're employed?
I'm employed with licenses and inspection, code enforcement division.
And are you familiar with the property at 2051 South Redfield Street?
Yes, I am.
And did you perform inspections at this property?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I've shared some documents with the board. Can you please tell us, they're marked City Exhibit C1. At page 1, what is the document that I'm showing right now?
You're showing a violation notice in order to correct.
And what was the date of that notice?
The date of that notice was February 9th, 2024.
What were the violations that you observed at the subject premises?
The violations were exterior structural walls were basically was the bricks in the front, the very front wall where the lawn is, the closest to the sidewalk, it was splitting the bricks between that wall. Also with concrete components, which shows that the patio area over top of the lawn area, the cement in that area is deteriorating.
Okay. I'm going to scroll down and ask you to take a look at the photograph that's marked at page 3. Can you tell us what this photograph shows?
It shows that that front patio area right above the front lawn area where the cement is deteriorating.
So that would that normally be a masonry structure patio?
Yes.
How about what's marked as page 4? What does this photograph show?
That's the like the wall to the front lawn area where the bricks area are is a split in the middle. It's like it's splitting apart.
And that crack that you observe in the wall, is that adjacent to a public sidewalk?
Yes.
And what is the photograph at page 5 that I'm showing right now?
That's just the front of the exterior of the property to show that that's the property I was at.
And when was your most recent inspection?
My most recent inspection was February 5th, 2025.
And I'm showing what's marked as page 6. Is this the current state of the front wall?
That's correct.
And when you look at the crack, has that become wider since your original inspection last year?
I can't really say per se, but I'm not sure if it was actually split that wide because this picture is closer than the one before.
Is this
I'm
wall?
sorry, Mr. Johnson. I'm sorry. I did not understand Mr. Howard's last response. Could you
Can
just
you
repeat?
please tell us again? And I'll repeat the
So
question.
this picture, I said this is the most recent picture. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this most recent picture is closer than the one that I was taken a year ago. So I can't really say if it's the same size and width or if it got wider.
Thank you.
In your experience, does this wall present a danger of falling on the sidewalk?
Yes.
And how about what's at page 7? What is that photograph?
That's photograph of, well, both violations, and it also includes the patio area where the cement is deteriorating.
And is the earth behind the wall, is there evidence of erosion of the earth underneath the front porch?
Yes, that is.
And in your experience, wouldn't the retaining wall with the crack, isn't that supposed to keep all the materials from receding in such as you're pointing out?
Yes.
How about page 8?
Okay. That's basically picture of the front to show that the property, which include the violation for the concrete.
I'm going to ask that C1 be admitted at this time.
C1 is admitted.
One last question for Inspector Howard. Are these all conditions that are in violation of the Philadelphia Code?
Yes.
And what was the date that the owner was supposed to make repairs pursuant to the notice?
To the 35 days from February 9th, 2024.
And was that March 14th, 2024?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. I have nothing further for the witness.
Okay, ma'am, Ms. Mitchell, do you have any questions of the inspector based on his testimony?
No.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Johnson, any additional witnesses?
No, sir.
Okay, all right, ma'am.
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, tell us your side of things. What do you want to tell us?
Well, I'm financial hardship. I'm on
Okay.
SSI and, it's just, I don't have the money to fix that. And it's probably gonna cost thousands to fix. And I don't have any, financially, I'm not, unless I'm on a payment plan of some sort. I'm
Okay.
on a very low income, fixed income.
Okay.
So,
Well, unfortunately, the code doesn't give us authority to make a decision based on financial ability. The issue is whether or not the conditions that we see are in fact the conditions at your property. Is that the case?
yes. Mhm.
Okay. Have you done anything or talked to anyone about assistance in getting the repairs made?
I've spoken to a couple people and, yeah, it's going to be up there in price.
But that's not the
Because it's-
question. My question is, have you spoken to anyone, any programs in the city about securing assistance to make the repairs?
Yeah, I spoke to one program
Okay.
and,
Okay. Well, I can't give you advice, but I can only say to you that you should be aggressive about looking for resources that could help you make repairs.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else, Ms. Mitchell, you want to share with us?
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions?
I have a question. Ms. Mitchell, how long has the property been in this condition?
About going on 2 years.
And you paid a contractor to build that wall?
Oh, that wall is been up since my daughter was a baby. And she's
many years
40
is
some
that?
years old. And anytime they, it got that crack, because, when they dig up the street, the vibration from jackhammering and, over the years, it just, I guess it developed a small crack and, it just opened.
Thank you.
Okay. Ma'am, the one issue that I can share with you, though, that's important for you to consider is that you don't want anyone to be injured if they're walking
Right.
down your sidewalk in front of your house and the wall collapses. And you don't want to be injured if the wall
No,
or your
no, no.
patio collapses because the earth beneath it has eroded.
Yeah, eroded. Mhm.
Okay, so you need to take this very seriously. Okay. All right, thank you very much. Is there any additional questions from anyone? Any cross-examination, Mr. Johnson?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. We will
Thank
now
you.
poll the board regarding HA 2024-000908-2051 South Redfield Street, Charmaine Mitchell. City affirmed 90-day stay of enforcement.
City affirmed 90-day stay of enforcement. What that means, Ms. Mitchell, is you've got to try to get some help. You call your councilman, you call any and everyone, your state rep, your state senator, anyone that can try to help you find a way to get these repairs done.
City affirmed with a 90-day stay of enforcement.
City affirmed 90-day stay of enforcement.
Thank you very much, ma'am. The vote is city affirmed, which means you lost your appeal, but we're also asking the city not to take any additional enforcement action for at least 90 days. That will
Okay.
give you an opportunity to make some phone calls, to talk to as many people as you can before additional enforcement action starts, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, have a good day. Sir,
You
all the
too.
witnesses are excused. Okay, Mr. Moto, what do we have next?
Brings us number 20 on the list, sir. Hearing appeal ending 0921 for the property 5037 D Street. John Matthew is the appellant.
Who's representing the city?
Maria Kina on behalf of the city.
Okay, is anyone present representing 5037 D Street? John Matthew. Is Mr. John Matthew present? Or anyone else representing Mr. Matthew?
No one in the waiting room, sir, with that name. Notice of this hearing was sent to 5037 D Street, which the appellant listed in their appeal. The notice was sent for this hearing on 1/9/25.
Thank you very much. What time do we have, Mr. Pincus?
3:07 PM.
3:07 PM. Mr. Quino, no one's responding. What is your pleasure?
City requests a holding of city affirmed for failure to appear.
Thank you. HA 2024-000921 5037 D Street, John Matthew, city affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Everyone all the witnesses are excused. We need to take a short recess, and so it is now 3:07. We will return it. Okay, Mr. Moto, what do we have next?
Next item on today's list, sir, is item number 29, hearing appeal ending 0995-2943 Master Street, BSAJ LLC, and Henry Clinton Esquire.
Okay, who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, members of the board. Will Fernandez for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay, and is the Henry Clinton Esquire present?
Yes, sir. Henry Clinton here. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, okay, are we prepared to proceed today, Mr.
Well,
Fernandez?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I spoke with Mr. Clinton maybe about 45 minutes ago, and we recall that you mentioned that there was a potential issue regarding the timeliness of the appeal.
Yes.
However, Mr. Clinton made me aware of another secondary issue that doesn't directly relate to this appeal, but may affect the city's posture with potentially settling it. Essentially, the violation was initially issued to a prior owner of the property who is not the appellant. Several inspections were done. Then when Mr. Clinton's client, BSAG LLC, purchased the property, the same notice was reissued to his client. His client is, I believe, intending on remedying the violations. The sign that has been cited is for the prior business, and the current appellant, the current owner, is going to be operating a different business, which will necessitate a new sign that Mr. Clinton has represented to me will be done, with the proper permits. Mr. Clinton also made me aware, or when I was discussing this with Mr. Clinton, I noted that there was a significant number of re-inspection fees that had accrued and had been issued to, that would be issued to his client upon compliance of the violation. And so I told Mr. Clinton that I would look into, I'm not certain right now what the department's policy is with re-inspection fees that initially accrued under a prior owner when the violation remained open through the sale of the property. But I told Mr. Clinton that I would speak to the department to see if those re-inspection fees that accrued prior to his client's purchase of the property could be assessed to the prior owner, leaving his client only with the re-inspection fees that accrued during their ownership of the property. So with that said, I think we have a joint request for a short continuance so that I can talk to my client about the re-inspection fees, and then possibly, depending on the outcome of that discussion, resolve this matter with an agreement. And if not, we would, of course, be ready to go forward, and we would be ready to address the timeliness issue with respect to the appeal.
Okay, Mr. Clinton, is that, you agree with that position?
Yes, I do. That's a great recall of what the history of this property is.
Okay. Now, one matter we may or may not have to deal with is this issue of timeliness of the appeal. And so given that they're changing ownership and rewriting of the notices of violation, so I'd ask you to be prepared. If you do come back, I need you to be prepared to argue the issue of timeliness, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we would note this for the record as continued for today, the joint request.
If I may very quickly, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? It's the next matter anyways. I guess it was going to be called Mr. Michael Cadigan's matter. I'll just step back since it's the next matter and let it be called.
Okay, thank you.
May I be
Alrighty.
excused, sir?
Okay, Mr. Clinton, are you also on the next matter?
No.
Oh, okay, have a good afternoon. You excused.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Woodson. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Rolo, what do we have next?
Next matter,
Mr. Moto.
sir, is number 30 on the list, hearing appeal ending 1040 for the property 2204 South 69th Street. Michael Cadigan is the appellant.
Cadigan, are you present, and who's representing the city?
Good afternoon, members of the board. Will Fernandez for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay.
I am present. My name is Mike Cadigan.
Okay, Mr. Cadigan, okay, this violation, I guess I need to ask before we get started, Mr. Fernandez, this is written directly to Mr. Cadigan or to a corporate interest?
This was written to Mr. Cadigan.
Okay, Mr. Cadigan, raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Okay, any witnesses, Mr. Fernandez?
Well, I actually have another preliminary matter that came up
Okay.
about 20 minutes ago. I had a phone call with Mr. Cadigan, and he indicated at that time that he wanted to request a continuance. Very briefly, the background here is Mr. Cadigan was cited for building a deck at the rear of the property, 2204 South 69th Street. There was also some structural work done to the property that was observed. And so the violation is requiring Mr. Cadigan to provide an engineer's report for the structural work, a building permit for the deck, and then a minor demolition permit for the removal of the rear bay, which I believe is the structural work in question. I will say first and foremost, the only reason I'm willing to not necessarily oppose the continuance request is because there has been already a showing of movement towards compliance. A zoning permit has been issued, though no building permit has been issued yet. Mr. Cadigan during the phone call represented to me that he wanted to ask for a continuance because he has an expediter that is currently in the process of obtaining an engineer's report. I was initially not sure if I would oppose or not oppose his continuance request, but the inspector for this case had to be out in the field doing pre-court inspections for CSU cases that he's handling in court next week, and indicated that he would be ready to receive a call and jump in, pull over the car if not needed, and sign into the meeting. I was unable to get him on the phone in the last 10 minutes. I tried calling him twice. And so with that, and with the importantly, both the evidence that this is moving towards compliance already, and Mr. Cadigan's representation that he would be obtaining an engineer's report for the structural work in a short period of time. Given all those factors, I would not oppose a continuance request in this matter.
Okay. Mr. Fernandez, just for clarity's sake, the inspector you were attempting to connect with, is that the assigned inspector to this project?
Yes, it's Inspector Jim Trainer. I think there was a miscommunication where he didn't realize that the hearing was when it was until he was already out in the field. I spoke to him on the phone right as the hearing was starting, and he basically the best we could do, unfortunately, was having him on call ready to join.
I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
Okay. Mr. Cadigan, do you agree with the representation made by the city?
I would like to, yes, I do. I would like to rectify this situation.
No, I'm saying, do you want a continuance? That's the.
Yes, please. I would like to request a continuance.
Okay, so based on the request, we will note this as a request for continuance by the appellate.
And,
Okay.
I'll just represent, I'm going to send Mr. Cadigan my email address now, and I would ask him that as soon as he has the engineer's report in particular, that's, one of our priorities, that he email me a copy.
Okay, so we noted for today, this matter is being continued. Okay? Thank you. All
Thank you.
parties are excused.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of the board. And that, I think, concludes my my business. Thank you all very much.
Yeah, have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Morrow, what's next?
Sir, that brings us to numbers 40 and 41. Hearing appeal ending 0172 and 0174, both for the property at 6801 North 16th Street. Moses Strauss and Thrive Therapy, and Natalie Kalash-Torney is the attorney.
Okay, who's representing the city?
Christopher Johnson for the city of Philadelphia.
Okay, is Ms. Clastorni available?
Yes, I am, Mr. Woodson. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, so let us begin. Mr. Johnson, do you have any witnesses for today?
Yeah, Inspector Riggs.
Can we enter into the stipulation that we discussed previously, Mr. Johnson?
Well, and my understanding, there was a re-inspection today, and the violation related to the heating on the third floor has been brought into compliance. The only remaining violation was for the new use without the proper use registration permit.
Okay, was there a settlement of sorts, Ms. Clastorni, that you wanted on the record?
Well, prior to the hearing, Mr. Johnson and I had conferred, and I just wanted to narrow the focus of the hearing to just the issue of the use permit, because the other violation had been complied.
Okay, well, of course, Mr. Johnson, if that's something you're willing to stipulate to, we can do that.
I was going to just ask that single question to the inspector in the testimony. He can elucidate the current conditions based on his inspection.
Okay.
But it
Alright.
was marked complied in the system.
Okay, all right. We will note that for the record. And we always want to keep our testimony as narrow as we can so we can move these things along. So we want to, rather than
And also,
expand it,
just one more thing I wanted to mention, I apologize. There are two violations. And both violations included the use permit, so we appealed both. But there's, on, I believe, 174, there's some violations for sprinkler system and signage related to the first floor unit, which is the responsibility of the property owner, which my client is not. So I just wanted to also confirm with Mr. Johnson on the record that he agrees that that is the responsibility of not my client, but the landlord.
But agreed that the appellant here is the tenant in the third floor space, and the appeal relates only to use of the third floor space as it currently exists.
okay, well, who's the violation written to?
I would defer to the inspector for that.
Okay, well, let's do that. Put that on the record and we will move that ahead. Okay, all righty. The inspector is present. Let's get him sworn in. Ms. Clestoni, will you have any witnesses today?
Yes, I will have witnesses. I have three witnesses.
Three? Okay, and they are all fact witnesses?
Correct.
Okay, all righty. Your witness, Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, the city is going to call Inspector Riggs.
Inspector, if you make yourself known, Inspector Riggs, if you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Johnson.
Inspector Riggs, can you just tell us briefly where you're employed?
I'm employed with the city of Philadelphia, the license and inspections department.
And what's your position with the department?
I'm a code enforcement inspector.
How long have you been a code enforcement inspector?
2 years.
Are you familiar with the property at 6801 North 16th Street?
Yes.
And have you had a chance to inspect that property?
Yes.
Right, with the board's permission, I'm going to share what's marked as Exhibit C1 with the board.
Okay.
Inspector Riggs, can you see the documents that I'm showing on the screen?
Yes.
Can you tell us what the document is marked at C1?
It is the violation notice in order to correct.
And was this a copy that was sent to the owner of the building?
Yes.
And what was the date of the violation notice?
The date of the notice was January 11th, 2025.
And what were the violations that were written as part of that case?
The violations were for the heating system not operating on the third floor, and for the zoning for the use on the third floor.
And can you just tell the board, what is the permitted use on the third floor?
The current permitted use is for office space.
And what is the new use that was deemed to be in violation?
It's currently being used as a childcare facility.
Okay. How about the document at page 3? What is that?
Also a violation notice in order to correct.
And was that sent to Thrive Therapy Services?
Yes.
And the same date, was it January 11th?
Yes.
Same violations?
Correct.
And I'm going to show at pages 5, 6, and 7, 8 of the packet. Are these pictures that were part of the original violation case stored in the city's records?
Yes.
Okay. this signage in the front, Inspector Riggs, is that your child's world? Is that the business operating on the third floor?
No, that is the business operating on the first floor.
And is that a daycare on the first floor?
Yes,
Is that a permitted use for the first floor of the property?
yes,
Is this photograph at page 6, is that a photograph taken inside the third floor space?
yes.
And are there any violations that are exhibited in the photograph?
I believe that is a picture of a portable space heater.
And how about what's marked at page 7? What is this?
That is a wall unit heater connected in one of the rooms.
And how about page 8? What is this unit?
That is the fire alarm annunciator.
And when did you perform your inspection at the property?
I was there today.
Can you tell us, is page 9, is this a photograph that you took today?
Yes,
And was this just to illustrate the front of the building?
correct.
All right. How about page 10? What is this photograph?
That is a picture of the entrance door to the third floor.
And is this a sign indicating Thrive?
Yes, sir.
How about page 11? What does this indicate?
That is a picture of the thermostat in one of the rooms.
And why did you take that photograph?
Because one of the violations was for no heat, and that was the room that the space heater was in.
Was the space heater still there?
No,
Is the heating system working?
yes, it is.
And what was the temperature on the reading?
I believe 73.
And how about the photograph at page 12? What does this indicate?
That is a picture of a baseboard heater in the hallway.
And was that functioning on
Yes,
your
it was.
inspection?
Yes.
And how about page 13? What does this photograph show?
But that's just a picture of the air ducts for that room as well.
And did you check to see if air was coming out?
Yes,
And was it?
yes,
Was it warm air?
yes.
I'm going to ask that C1 be admitted to the record now.
So admitted.
Inspector Riggs, based on your inspection, what are the current issues that the department has at the property?
Currently, the third floor is being used for, as I stated before, childcare, and it's not zoned to be. It should be a office space.
Okay. And does the city indicate, are there any current safety or health issues with regard to that use of the space?
Yes.
Can you please tell us?
Currently, that property is not adequately able to supply, well, not supply, I'm sorry, adequately able to support those people being in that space. You would need more exits on that floor,
How many?
at least 2, and one needs to go directly to the floor. I'm sorry, to the outside discharge.
And is that, are those requirements of the Philadelphia Code
Yes,
for the use as what you described as childcare?
yes.
Do you have anything else you want to add for the record that the department has concerns about the property?
No.
Okay. I have nothing further at this time.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, before we proceed any further, one basic ground rule we did not resolved. Are we hearing both cases together or are we going to hear them separately?
Believe it's both cases, but it relates now to only one violation. Isn't that correct, Mr. Johnson?
That's correct.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking is because I just want to know whether we're collapsing all testimony to both cases or we hearing them separately so that we will always vote on each case separately, but I just want to understand, make sure that your parties all agree.
I mean, I guess the violation, so Thrive doesn't have standing to challenge violations for the first floor. So I'm not sure, did they receive a violation notice because of the new use? We can stipulate that for case number, and I'm going to give you the violation case number, CF-2024-12863.
865.
For that case,
Yeah.
The violation for new use on the third floor was closed and the case was reissued as part of case number CF-2025-001854.
Oh, so they've already been collapsed then, or just only for the third floor use?
Right.
No,
That's the,
I think they were collapsed with the cease. There was some confusion when we filed the appeals. I think there are two separate appeals in relation to.
I was under the impression coming in that one was for the cease and one was for the violation. Hold on.
Yeah, so I just want to know if the third floor issues have been reissued as part of case
Yeah, the third
1854.
floor new use was written on case number CF-2025-001854.
When was that written?
Excuse me?
When was that written?
January 11th. It was in the notice I put in as part of Exhibit C1.
Okay, so that aspect of the violations for the third floor were added to the 1854 matter.
Yes.
Okay, are there any additional open violations for 8653?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I want to understand. So
Yeah. But Thrive is not the owner of the building. They don't control the fire alarm system for the building. They don't have standing to appeal
understood.
those violations.
Okay, so was Thrive also written for 1854?
Thrive was written for 1854. That's at page 3 in the
Okay,
exhibit.
was the owner of the building written for 1854?
Yes,
So both the owner of the building and Thrive were written for 1854.
correct.
Ms. Clastorni, are you representing both parties?
I'm not, I'm only representing the tenant. And I did email
The tenant
owner of
being
the.
Thrive, is that correct?
That is correct. I did email the owner of the building regarding the violations and this hearing and got no response.
Okay, so is there anyone present representing the interest of the building? Anyone present representing the interest of the building, the owner itself? So let's do this. If no one's responding, Mr. Johnson, 8653 has open violations, correct? So we can dispose of that if the owner isn't here.
Well, here's the thing. So the same violation also wrote a violation for the use permit.
No, Ms.
No, but
Clastorni,
and we'll stipulate that violation was closed out on that case number
Oh, it was.
and rewritten. Yes.
right.
Yeah.
So
That's why it was closed out on 653 and rewritten as part of case 854.
okay, so let's
Yeah.
do this. I want then to do the easy part first. So if the owner is not present and the owner appealed the violations that were written at 8653, did that occur?
No, the
Okay.
owner never appealed. I appealed on behalf of the tenants.
Okay, so
Because-
just for a moment. So in essence, 8653 should be closed because it was rewritten and incorporated in 1854.
No, no. The only violation, there were multiple violations on 653. Two of them are still open.
Okay, but they were not appealed.
You mean the appeal should be closed, not the violation?
Yeah, the
Right,
appeal should
okay,
be
thank
closed.
you. Yes.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
so in this case, there's no appeals open or standing. So in fact, case number 41 should not be heard. There's nothing to be heard.
Correct.
Okay,
Or you
so I
could
just need the correct language
Moot.
from all the lawyers in the room as to how we should label it.
You should label it as moot.
Moot?
The city's
Okay.
position.
So for purposes of this hearing today, HA 2025-000174, 6801-17 North 16th Street, Moses Strauss and Thrive Therapy is moot. Okay, for all parties.
Yes.
Now, we only have one open issue. That's HA 2025-000172. And that's, of course, 6801 North 16th Street, Thrive Therapy and Moses Strauss. And basically, Ms. Clustoni, you're appealing on behalf of Thrive Therapy, correct?
That is correct, Mr.
Okay.
Woodson.
Alrighty. And so, Mr. Johnson, I'm not sure how the city views this in terms of when only one party is appealing. Well, never mind. I answered it myself. Okay, so let's proceed. So we're only going to be voting on one case today, and so there's no need to discuss consolidation. Okay, thank you very much. Let's proceed.
Could I just make one clarifying question from
Yes.
Inspector Riggs? Inspector Riggs, just for the board, when the city issued the notice to intent to cease operations, was that for the whole building or just for the third floor?
Believe it was just for the third floor.
And why was it just for the third floor?
Again, because it's not zoned properly for its current use.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any additional questions for Mr. Riggs?
I do. Good afternoon, Inspector
Right, I'm
Riggs.
asking Mr. Johnson.
No.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so cross-examination.
I apologize. I thought you were addressing me, Mr. Woodson. Good afternoon, Inspector Riggs. You testified earlier that you inspected the property today.
Well,
Correct.
yes, I did the re-inspection for the case.
Had you been to this property before today?
No,
Can you please speak up? I'm sorry.
no,
No, okay. And you inspected the entire building?
no, I inspected the issues for the violations.
And what efforts did you make to determine what kind of facility Thrive was?
What do you mean?
You said that that Thrive was a childcare facility. How did you determine that?
Well,
Was
I
it
didn't
based on the
determine.
fact that there was a childcare facility downstairs in the first floor?
Well, that's what the violation was written for initially. I went out to the property to see if the violations had been corrected.
Right, but you testified that Thrive on the third floor was a childcare facility. And I'm asking you, how did you determine that?
With the children that were currently in the property?
You saw children there.
Yes.
Okay. And how many children did you see?
From my recollection, I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly how many.
How much time did you spend on the third floor?
On the third floor, I was there probably approximately 10 minutes.
And did you speak with anybody on the third floor?
You mean people that were working there or representatives?
Anybody?
Yes.
Who did you speak with?
I believe her name was Kelly Lee.
And who, to your knowledge, who was Kelly Lee, or how did she identify herself?
She's one of the operators of the facility.
Did you ask her what kind of facility it was?
No, I did not.
Did you see any desks on the third floor?
Yes.
How many rooms are on the third floor?
Again, I'm not too sure.
Do you know if there's any zoning appeals pending relating to the third floor?
If there are zoning appeals,
Yes.
yes.
What is your knowledge?
Yes, I believe there's a zoning appeal.
Okay. And is that related to the use permit?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know there's a hearing scheduled?
Yes.
When is that hearing?
From what I was told, it was for May 21st of this year.
Did you, in anticipation of doing the inspection, did you review any documents?
I reviewed the documents of the case.
Okay. Did you review any documents regarding what kind of business Thrive was?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. I have no further questions for the
Thank you.
inspector.
Any redirect?
Redirect.
All right, thank you. Ms. Class, any additional witnesses, Mr. Johnson?
No.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Clastoni, your opportunity to put on your case.
Thank you, Mr. Woodson. My first witness is going to be Moses Strauss.
Okay.
I'm here.
I don't. Moses Strauss, would you raise your right hand so that you may be right hand?
Oops, sorry.
Do you swear or
the wrong
affirm the
side.
testimony? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Strauss, please state your name for the record.
My name is Moses Strauss.
What is your role in respect to Thrive?
I'm the owner of Thrive Therapy, one of the owners of Thrive Therapy.
Business is Thrive Therapy.
Correct.
What kind of business is it?
Oh, sorry. We apply ABA services to children with autism. It's called Applied Behavior Analysis. What we try to do is in short, is to mainstream children with autism as much as possible, get them into regular classes, and have them up to par with children their age.
I'm gonna show you a document that we had pre-marked and sent over to the board. It was pre-marked as Exhibit 2. Mr. Woodson, may I share my screen?
Yes, please.
The document that is in front of me, it says the Hartman Group LLC lease of premises at 6801 North 16th Street. Is that the lease that you and Thrive Therapy entered into?
Correct.
Okay. And when did that lease begin?
I believe sometime in June, maybe June 17th, something like that, of 2024.
Okay, the date of the lease is June 10th, 2024. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Does the facility also include office space on the third floor?
Yes.
Ms. Clastorni, are you putting on
Yes,
additional
I'm sorry,
documents?
I'm here. I'm just looking at something at the document. I apologize.
Because nothing's on the screen presently. Do you plan to share an additional document?
I do. I'm sorry. I'm gonna, oh, sorry. Going back to the document. On page 13, I'm sorry, paragraph 13, where it says permitted uses. What does that include?
Child therapeutic services and auxiliary office use.
Oh, so the space does include office space, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I have no further questions for this witnesses, but I will have two more additional witnesses.
Would
Could I
you
just
clarify
ask-
what you just said?
So
have no
I said I would like to move into the record exhibit 2.
Okay.
And with that, I don't have any additional questions for this particular witness.
All right, thank you. Mr. Johnson, any cross?
Yeah, just briefly, your business, sir, are you connected at all with the childcare business on the first floor?
No, nothing at all.
And Mr. Strauss, are you a doctor?
I am not a doctor, no.
Are your services, are they in the form of classes or individual sessions?
They're all individual sessions. Anybody that comes to us has a one-on-one who is supervised by a BCBA, which is a board certified behavior analyst, who writes the plan, and then we have someone implementing the actual plan.
And how many rooms are on that third floor space?
To be honest, if I remember correctly, I think it's 9, but the next witness will be able to answer it more correctly.
Okay, nothing further.
Well, okay, thank you. I do have a couple questions for Mr. Strauss. Mr. Strauss, is there a clinical or medical professional on the premises when these services are being provided?
Yes, we have a few of them actually, usually.
Is there a chief person who is, say, responsible for all of the therapy?
Actually, it's split up between a few people, so there's no. I think Kelly oversees the whole program, but
Okay,
there's
well,
a few
I don't need to know,
BCBAs.
I don't need to know
Sorry.
the name, I don't need to know names of individuals, just give me the title and or medical designation for those individuals.
There is a few BCBAs, board certified behavior analysts, who are at any given time within the program.
Okay, how many of those are there during the day?
Anywhere from, I think, 2 through 4.
2 to 4?
Yes.
Okay, and what additional trained individuals do you have?
On top of those people,
Yes.
we do not. Those are the highest level in my program.
How many children can you accommodate during the day?
Depends on space, I guess probably up to 30 if possible.
Is that your normal census during the day?
No, never.
Well, what do you normally have?
Anywhere between 9 through 13.
Okay. And what are the ages?
About between 4 and 7, I think.
4 and 7? Okay.
Yes.
Are parents and or guardians with the child during their time at the center?
Most times not.
Most times not. So what would typically a parent or a guardian would drop the child off and then leave and return?
Correct.
Okay, how early do they normally drop the child off?
Could be anywhere from 8:45 till 3 o'clock, 3:30.
So drop off at 8:45?
As early as 8:45. Some
Okay.
at 8:45. I mean, everyone has different schedules.
Sure. And during the day, does the children, are they fed and are they also allowed to take a nap and that sort of thing?
We don't do naps. If they bring their own lunch, then they eat, yes.
Well, if they don't bring the lunch, do they eat?
To be honest, I don't know. I'm not there on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, but this is your business.
This is my business, but we have 400 children under my purview. These are only 13 of them.
It's
Okay.
Mr. Woodson, the other two
Yes.
witnesses who actually spend
Okay.
are hands-on and spend 5 days a week in this facility can answer these
Understood.
questions.
Ms. Clastorni, you put him on as the owner of the property, owner of the business. So we expect him to be an expert in how the business operates. But okay, I have a few other questions. What are the general ages, average age of your clients, Mr. Sir?
Anywhere from 4. I think our oldest, I think, is 9.
4 to 9 years old?
Yes,
Okay.
but we can go up to 21.
Okay, and do you do evaluations at your site, or is that determination of autism has been determined by a separate professional?
That is determined before they come.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, any additional questions?
Yes, Mr. Strauss, is your
Yes.
facility state certified?
We are IBHS certified, correct?
IBH certified?
IBHS, yes.
Is that the state, is that a state certification? IBHS?
That is the state, yes,
State of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
correct.
And the food that you serve, is it cooked on site or is it heated up, microwave, et cetera?
It's definitely not cooked on site. No, we don't supply food.
So each child or parent has to provide their lunch.
If they're there through lunchtime, then yes.
I'm just questioning because I believe you testified that sometimes we provide lunch if the child doesn't have lunch. That was your testimony earlier?
That was not my testimony, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Clastoney, you have additional witnesses?
I do.
Okay,
My next witness is Wendy Lax.
okay. Ma'am, would you give us your full name, spell your last name, please?
For Wendy Lax, LAX.
LAX?
Yes, like the airport.
Okay, thank you. Would you raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Ms. Lax, what is your position with Thrive?
I am the administrative director. I am also a board certified behavior analyst and a Pennsylvania licensed behavior specialist with the PA State Board of Medicine.
Is Thrive a child care facility?
No, it is not.
What exactly is Thrive?
Thrive Therapy, that is located at 6801 North 16th Street, is licensed with the Office of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services under DHS. And we are recognized under the what's called IBHS, Intensive Behavioral Health Services. We are in compliance with the state's regulations, the 5240 codes, PA codes, to provide behavioral health services to children with autism using applied behavior analysis. It is more of a medical model. Everything is billed through medical insurance.
And the facility at 16th Street that we're here about, does it also contain office space?
Yes.
Does it contain desks?
For the office staff, yes. Yes.
Do you have office staff?
Yes, I have a desk there. Our director of center-based programming has a desk there. Our intake coordinator has a desk there. We also have 2 board certified behavior analysts that have desks. We have desks for also for a clinical manager and for 2 senior behavior technicians as well.
Okay, and is office work conducted at the North 16th facility?
Yes.
And what kind of office work?
I know that for me, when I'm there, I am looking over a lot of the operations, so insurance utilization. I'm looking over, I oversee also all the recruitment. So I'm often reading resumes. I oversee, we have a partnership with PCOM. Correspondence with the professors and working with the graduate students, I definitely conduct my work there. Personally, the intake coordinator is returning phone calls from families. The clinical manager is reviewing treatment plans. We are, reaching out to insurance about authorizations, really all of our day-to-day operations, that we can be conducted there and are conducted on a daily basis.
And how do you bill insurance and Medicaid? Do you bill as an office or as a school?
We bill to our place of service is 11 office. When we have billed, if we would not get a claim accepted or paid if we billed any other place of service.
You said that your bills would not get paid if you
No, our
characterize
claim would not, our claim would be returned if it was a wrong place of service. So we have to bill office space, which is 11 for the Medicaid billing place of service.
When Inspector Riggs testified, he said that there was not a back door going directly out to the outside space. Is that correct?
No.
It's not correct?
No.
Is there a back door?
Yes.
Okay, and that leads directly to the outside?
Yes.
Okay, and approximately during the course of a day, how long do the children spend at the facility?
So it really depends. It is based on your insurance authorization. So it depends on what we have submitted and received back from insurance. It's based on units. So everything is billed in 15-minute increments. It depends again on the what is authorized per month and throughout the authorization period. Some kids are there for a few hours, some a little bit longer. And again, it depends on, we have a finite amount of authorization units from insurance.
And what are the ages of the children that are there?
Currently, there are children that as young as 3 years old, but we have children that are, we have had children up to 6, up to 7. We can accommodate, and we have children in Thrive that are much older than that. Like Moses said, we give sessions for kids, insurance will approve ABA services up to age 21.
There have been some questions about whether you provide food. Do you provide food?
No, not to any clients, not at all. Everyone
Why is
brings,
that?
because that's not, we don't. I mean, we parents, if children are there, like Moses said, through a time where they would be hungry, their parents will, send them snacks in a backpack, cold food, nothing is heated. Yeah.
I'm going to show you some documents. Mr. Woodson, may I?
Yes, please.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Referring you to the document that was pre-marked as Exhibit 1. It's the licensing inspection summary. What exactly is that?
So this shows that we are in compliance with, as I mentioned, IBHS, Intensive Behavioral Health Services, and specifically Applied Behavior Analysis, which is the behavioral health model that I was referring to.
And is this issued by the Department of Human Services?
Yes, and specifically the Office of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
And it says here no deficiencies identified. Correct?
Correct.
The address of the facility is listed as 325 Chestnut Street. Do you know why that is?
That is our legal mailing address. It has to do with our Promise ID, our application to the state to be a Medicaid provider. But we are also in compliance with 6801 North 16th Street.
Okay, that's gonna get me to my my next exhibit, which is Exhibit 3. It looks like it's a letter from the city of Philadelphia.
Ms. Castoni, before you move on, I do have one clarifying matter. You indicated in that prior exhibit, if you go back to that, please, just for a moment.
Of course.
It's showing at 325 Chestnut Street. Is there anything in this document that references the North 16th Street location?
There's not, but we're gonna get to that in the subsequent exhibits.
Oh, okay, because specifically you've had testimony just now that in fact the North 16th Street location meets all standards, but this document doesn't say that.
Well, so this was issued before the lease was even,
Okay.
entered
It may
into.
have been, but I'm just saying,
Right.
we hear about North 16th Street. So this, at the moment, isn't relevant unless it shows me, says something in it regarding North 16th Street.
Yeah, I will move on to the next document.
Okay, thank you.
Looking at Exhibit 3.
Yes.
Is that a letter from the City of Philadelphia Department of Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services?
Yes.
And the date of the letter is October 2nd, 2024.
Yes.
It looks like it's addressed to Zippy Juni.
Yes.
Who's Zippy Juni?
Sippy Juni is the clinical director, and she also has the same certifications that I do. She is also a board certified behavior analyst and has a PA behavior specialist license with the PA Board of Medicine.
Okay, and what does this letter discuss?
This letter is showing that we are in compliance with, our program is in compliance to offer behavioral health therapeutic services to children at 6801 North 16th Street.
Okay, moving further to Exhibit 4, which is the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services. It looks like regulations. What are these regulations?
So those are the PA regulations that govern intensive behavioral health services. We have to make sure to be this is our regulatory governing body. We have to be, in order to have that letter of support and a certificate of compliance, we have to be fully in compliance with these codes.
Moving forward to Exhibit 5. What is Exhibit 5?
Exhibit 5 is an addendum to the certificate of compliance showing that 6801 North 16th Street was added and a previous location was deleted.
And was that your previous location on South 52nd Street?
Yes.
And on the next page, after the addendum to the certificate of compliance, it looks like there's a letter from the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services dated January 9th, 2025. It's addressed to Mr. Strauss, and it says, "We are issuing the enclosed addendum to certificate of compliance under the authority of Title 55, PA Code Chapter 5240. This action has been taken in response to your letter dated October 15th, 2024, notifying us of the deletion of a satellite office and addition of a satellite office. The enclosed addendum reflects the following changes: deletion of satellite site at 138 South 52nd Street, Philadelphia, PA 19139, and addition of satellite site at 6801 North 16th Street, Philadelphia, PA 19126. The changes are effective October 15th, 2024. Title 55, Chapter 20, Section 20.56 requires that the current certificate of compliance shall be posted in a public place in the facility at all times. Please post the addendum with your current certificate of compliance. Is that correct?
Yes.
I have no further questions for this witness. I would like to move into evidence exhibits 1, exhibit 3, exhibit 4, exhibit 5, and exhibit 5.
Okay, so moved. Any cross-examination, Mr. Johnson?
I just have one question. Wendy, I didn't catch your last name. I apologize.
Lax.
Oh, yes, like LAX. Okay,
Yeah.
yes. Ms. Lax, could you tell me, are there any of the children that you provide services for longer than 10 hours per week?
Per week?
Yes.
Yes, but never cumulative. I mean, over the course of 5 days, yes.
Right. Okay. So it could be like 2 hours a day for 5 days.
Yes. Yes.
All right. I'm nothing further.
The issue, Ms. Lax, was raised earlier regarding desks in terms of workspaces. How many individual private offices are in that space?
So we have shared workspaces. Currently, there's 3 shared workspaces. 3 to 4 shared workspaces, yes.
Okay, so that would mean 3 offices that have doors that close and offer some level of privacy, et cetera.
Yes.
Okay, for the 8, do you have a sense of how many square foot are in that space?
I believe it is about, it's approximately 5,000 square feet, I believe.
5,000 square foot?
Yes.
And it's a clear span, meaning open office, open space?
There are, no, it's a bunch of like rooms. So there's like different rooms for therapy. There's therapy rooms where the kids have some of their sessions, and also the workspaces.
Okay, so there's various things that you use as you offer therapy to the individuals. Do you identify them as patients? How do you identify them?
Yes, they are clients.
Clients,
And
okay.
everything comes under, for example, we come under HIPAA as opposed to FERPA. FERPA is the laws for schools, whereas we come under HIPAA because it is protected health information as its all medical documents.
Okay, and you noted earlier that you have a second exit.
Yes.
Does that exit provide access to the ground level?
Yes.
How is that described that physically? Is it a set
It
of stairs?
provides
Is there an elevator?
access.
What is it?
We do have there's two doors that lead downstairs to they have access to the other floors as well as the first floor. And so there's one in the front and one in the back. And then there is also an elevator.
Okay, but the exit from the third floor, that's via stairs. It does not lead directly to the ground.
Do you mean the ground isn't outside?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
It
do.
does. So you can walk from the third floor using the stairs to the first floor without going inside the building.
Yeah, in the back one, the back exit specifically, you can, yes. That's how we
Okay.
go, how the kids, when they have playtime outside, that is how they get outside. They go directly.
You mentioned something about going into the second and first floor. I'm not sure what you meant by that.
I'm saying you said to the exits. I'm saying the exits and the elevators, if you wanted to, you could exit into the second floor or you could go straight outside.
Okay, all right, thank you. Any other questions?
Yes. Ms. Lack, in reference to the chairman's question regarding the stair tower in the back, is that made of constructed of wood or iron?
It's definitely not wood. They're it's like a real, if you think of like a stairwell in like an old school building. That's what I would assume iron. I'm not so good with my building materials, but it's definitely not wood.
So does it have access to the main street in the event of emergency?
It has access to the back, which is there's a fence, but it is right by the street, yes.
Is there a lock or no lock on that fence? Is it accessible at all times without having to unlock it in event of emergency?
To get out, you can get out from inside the fence, I believe, but you can't get in from the street.
I understand. And being that that is a fire staircase, has it been inspected by the local municipalities, inspectional department for their code requiring and the program of fire exits being maintained in the event of emergency at all times?
I would not be able to answer that. I believe that would be for the landlord to answer. I do not have access to that.
And do you have fire drills, or what's your fire evacuation plan? Has it been
Yes.
certified
Yes.
by the local municipality?
We have the school, one second, the school downstairs, they have their fire drills. We follow when they are doing it. We also do one, and we have evacuation routes posted.
So you're governed by the school downstairs, you're telling me?
No, but we do also, we sync up our schedule to do I'm so sorry. I am so sorry.
Okay, Ms. Clastorni, what just happened?
I apologize. She's coming right back.
I'm so sorry. I have actually my own special needs child, and the door was locked, but I apologize. Okay. We join them when they do their fire drills. So like I said, we're not a childcare facility, so it's not when we've had site inspections, fire drills. We have presented them, Kevin Scott, whose name is on this, who is on the sheet that Natalie showed. Everything has been sufficient for him and we have showed our fire drill log and so on and so forth.
Showed the fire drill log to who?
I'm sorry, is there a question?
I was asking her, who did she show the fire drill log to?
The fire drill log, they are stored in our, we have them stored electronically with our other electronic records, and they are easily accessible. They're in our Google Drive, I believe. There is Kelly Sherman as our Director of Center-Based Services, and she handles all that document storage. So it is possible that they are also in paper form, but they are definitely stored electronically as well to access as needed.
The accessibility is not my question. The approval by the local municipality, have they seen them? Have they approved them? So you
No,
have
they
a
have not.
building.
What do you
It
mean by
is
local
located-
municipality? LNI is the local municipality.
Well, that's the question here. The violation is written by the local municipality, and I don't believe there is anything on record from this particular facility to the local municipality, nor are they registered their fire escape with the local municipality to come under the annual inspections. It's a required code here. This building
So
sits
where-
in the local municipality.
Right, but they're not the owner of the building. That's the responsibility of the owner
But they
of
are
the
the
building.
owner-
I think we
That's
agreed
not the
to that.
question. That's incorrect. The use of the fire stairs are going to be used by that facility. So they need to know the number of children coming out. They need to know that it's properly ready for use. And also the local municipality, the fire department should know about their fire drill or what they're having. Your building sits in the local municipality, so they have some jurisdiction. The violation was written by the local municipality, but Ms. Lax and Mr. Strauss, it continues to state that they come under the state certification, and they're evading the local municipality and have not given us anything that they're registered under the local municipality, just the state. So as if they're, excluded from any local
I-
municipality.
But that was not, that was not our
No further
impression at
questions.
all. They're licensed by the state and they're also properly licensed by the city as well. Is that correct, Ms. Lax?
Yes, we are in network with Community Behavioral Health, which is, as I forget which exhibit it was, it said the behavioral disability and intellectual disabilities. We have turned over all of our fire drill, everything, all of that when we have our own annual site visit to our governing body.
Okay, thank you. I just, one thing, we did show those addendums to the certification by the state. Is that based on an inspection by the state to determine if your facility is physically appropriate and safe for your
Yes.
program? Or is it really an evaluation of the programs aside from the
Yes.
physical building?
Yes, Kevin Scott, whose name is on those documents, has come out personally to our location. We've also had the Dr. Jessica Woods. She's not on there, but just to kind of give you more context, she is the head of neurodevelopmental services for the city of Philadelphia. She has personally also been to our locations.
Okay.
So we
And
have
does
had
that-
in-person
Does
visits.
that include use like zoning and that sort of thing?
That was not under our regulations. That was
Okay.
not, they have been out, and that is why this is all a surprise for us, because we have had multiple site visits.
Okay, so the state doesn't determine whether or not the space is appropriately zoned for your activity?
I'm sorry, can you repeat yourself?
The state does not determine if the space you're using for your programs is zoned appropriately.
No, that was not part of the compliance.
Okay, and so that would fall under local authority.
Mr. Woodson, we did,
Yes.
as I mentioned before, we did apply for a zoning permit. And we have filed an appeal of the denial based on, and we're requesting a variance. The appeal is pending. We have a hearing scheduled for May 21st in front of the ZBA.
Will you have anyone, a witness, talking about that today? Or should I ask, since you aren't
Well,
testifying?
in the inspector, I asked the inspector that question and he agreed that, that there's an appeal pending for, May 21st. And if you look at the documents that I submitted, which I can share again,
What is the basis of what variance are you requesting? I guess that's the course.
so sharing my documents, if you go to the very last document, which is Exhibit 9, that is a copy of the appeal that we filed.
Okay, what, I'm saying, what is the variance you're requesting?
We're asking for a de minimis variance of the zoning code for the subject property, which is a child therapy facility for children with autism. If you look at the notice of refusal, it says the proposed use group medical, dental, and health practitioners expressly prohibited in the RSA 3 zoning district. So,
Okay.
as Inspector Riggs did say, property is currently zoned for office space, which it by the way, it has. I don't think it's been, Inspector Riggs even testified that he saw desks. Miss Lax testified that it is an office space. So we believe this was issued in error, but out of an overabundance of caution, we have filed an appeal of the notice of refusal. And at the very back, I attached a screenshot which demonstrates that this is scheduled to be heard
Okay.
on May 21st.
Okay, but
Right
the-
here, it's last page of
Yeah,
my exhibit packet.
Okay.
And I would ask that the court take judicial notice of exhibit 9 as
So noted.
it contains. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, the issue of office space, of course, is that you have a 5,000 square foot space that has 3 offices in it. I'm not sure how large they are, but you accommodating the needs of 8 people, but mostly the space is for clinical program purposes where you're working directly with the children, not doing administrative or office functions, correct?
Well, I believe Ms. Lax testified that there was office functions, correct, Ms. Lax?
Oh, I did, you're right, she did,
Yes.
but that's not the majority of how the space is used. That's the
It
point.
is actually, because the way that it's cordoned off, these are small rooms for therapeutic, for like, for therapeutic services. And the largest rooms is where we have multiple desks and workspaces. We have,
Okay,
equipment.
but you, Ms. Castoni, you didn't submit any floor plans or other computations regarding office space versus clinical space or anything, did you?
I did not, no.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right,
I have a
any other,
question.
yes,
Yeah.
please.
And I'm not sure I followed this or or heard a clear presentation. And this is based on my experience working or hearing or seeing cases involving childcare facilities that are licensed by the state of Pennsylvania, that the state, when it gives a license, says these facilities we will license subject to presentation of evidence that you have the zoning to permit that use. So I guess I heard you, or I heard all and saw all the documents that were presented as exhibits demonstrating that you have approvals from the state, the Office of Behavioral, and I won't go into a couple of words, but it's not the same thing. And I understand as a child daycare center, which is a different office. But does the Office of Behavioral Services require evidence that the use is permitted under the zoning code when it approves the facility? It does. Ms. Lax, I see you nodding your head.
No, it does not. That has not been in any of our regulations. I've gone through this type
That's
of,
fine.
yeah.
So it's not a requirement of the state, though it may be appropriate as a requirement of the city that that facility have the proper zoning. You don't have to answer that. That's just appears that would be my observation.
Okay, thank you. Any additional witnesses, Ms. Castoni?
Yes, I have one additional witness, Kelly Lee.
Okay. Ms. Lee, would you raise your right hand so that you may be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give today be the truth to help you God?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You can place your hand down.
Ms. Lee, what is your full name?
Kelly Lee.
And what is your position with Thrive?
My title is Director of Center Programming.
And do you work at the North 16th Street facility?
Yeah, I perform administrative tasks there.
What administrative tasks do you perform?
So I oversee the timesheets of the behavior technicians and additional support that may be needed in terms of like administrative work.
Do you work at a desk?
Yes.
Are you in an office?
Yes.
And how many other offices are there?
There's 2.
2 other offices for a total of 3?
Correct.
Sorry?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And you heard Miss Lax's testimony before. Do you agree with everything that she stated?
Yes, I do.
And is there in fact an exit that goes all the way down to the street like she said?
Yes, there is.
There this morning when Inspector Riggs came?
Yes, I was there.
Okay, and did you meet with Inspector Riggs?
Yes, I did.
Did he ask you any questions?
He asked to take a photo of the thermostat and to see a room with the thermostat in it.
Did he ask you any other questions?
Not to my remembrance.
Did he ask you what kind of facility Thrive was?
No.
Rooms did he look at?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
What rooms did he look at?
He looked at 2 rooms.
And other
They
than,
were,
oh, sorry.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you were saying, I apologize.
No, he looked at 2 rooms where clients were in.
Okay, and other than those 2 rooms, did he look at other rooms?
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
No.
So he didn't take a full tour of the facility, isn't that right?
No, he did not.
And he didn't ask you any questions about what kind of facility Thrive was, correct?
No, he did not.
What are the ages of the children that are at Thrive?
At the current moment, between 3 and up to 6. But we can house older children as well if there was a need.
And how what's the average number of hours that any client spends at Thrive per day?
It really depends on what's authorized through health insurance. If I had to put a number on it, like an average of between 4 and 5
hours?
Yes, per day.
Okay. I have no further questions for Ms. Lee.
Thank you. Any cross?
No cross.
Okay, thank you. I do have Mr. Johnson, I wanted to, given that Ms. Custone, you don't have any additional witnesses?
I do not know.
Okay, in a moment, I'll ask both of you to offer any closing arguments you may have, but I'd like to recall the inspector. Is he still present? Inspector Riggs?
Yes.
Inspector Riggs, for a space that's used as a medical clinical space for children or adults, what's the zoning requirement for that? And does this building, what's the distinction between that and daycare? Do you know?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
For a space that's used for a medical care facility for children. For instance, if the title on the front of the building, if the heading on the front of the building was Children's Hospital Annex, and they were doing therapy, would that be considered a daycare? Or would you treat it differently?
Off the top of my head, I wouldn't be able to answer that question.
Okay, so in terms of code requirements, you having any sense of what the code requirements would be if they would be different?
I'm sure they would be different, but I wouldn't be able to give you exact references at this time.
Okay, how do you distinguish between a regular daycare and a therapy program?
Again, I wouldn't be able to give you that information at this time.
Okay.
I can give you common sense information, but as far as
No, don't do
code,
that.
I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I'm very specifically in terms of what your understanding of the code. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, the other thing I'd want to know, and this goes to Ms. Custone, I'm not sure who the witnesses would answer this. But I guess in your, as you change locations as a company, are you concerned about what, maybe this is Mr. Strauss's question. Do you determine what zoning currently exists and what's appropriate for your operation?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
When you pick a location, like you move from 52nd Street, you move to this location, how do you
Right.
determine if the building works for you?
To be honest, it's mostly about space and if there's a play area for the kids. Otherwise, we don't look at anything else.
You don't look at zoning or anything?
No, again, because we're governed by IBHS and OMSAS, not anybody else.
That isn't accurate because you're in this hearing.
And we get approved by them as well.
Okay, Ms. Clastorni, it doesn't appear that he's appreciating what I'm saying, but the issue
I
is
think,
that-
Moses, I think Mr. Woodson's questions are, goes to the city as opposed to the state.
Meaning what? I'm sorry.
Okay, well, by inference, you don't worry about whether the zoning is appropriate or not, or whether you have to go through the.
I think
zoning.
with all due respect, we have a request for a zoning variance, so
I know
I
you
think.
do, because I'm asking your client if in fact that's something that's considered before they move in. So that could have been resolved before they moved in. Neither of us know the answer to what the zoning hearing will result in. I know we have expectations, but neither of us have an answer. That's all I'm asking, just in terms of how they operate in their space.
Usually, as
Anything
long
else
as
from
there's
anyone?
office space there, we're good to go.
Sir, I didn't hear that response.
As long as there's office space, we're good to go. In our last location, we had absolute zero issues. We were zoned for office as well, so that's all we look for.
Well, if you want, Ms. Clastorni may or may not want to put this on a record, but I think a review of the record of that prior location does not indicate that it was office space. It was different space and was zoned differently. But that isn't what we.
Well, I
here
don't
for.
think the prior space is
That's
an
what I'm
issue.
suggesting. He raised it. I'm just suggesting that that isn't the case. But let's do this, and so that we can conclude our hearing appropriately. I'll hear argument from Ms. Clastorni, then I'll hear from the city unless there are other questions.
I have a question. I do have a question. Ms. Lax, when you call them clients come in and they're there for the average of 4 to 5 hours, they're there, I assume, with a clinician or a licensed person who's, is it one-on-one or could it be more than one-on-one?
It is one-to-one. We do have authorization for, if needed, for children to be 2-on-1, but that is a different, what's called CPT code, a different insurance authorization. So we are authorized, but I would say that 95% of the children are all one-to-one, and then we have a couple that are what we would classify as higher functioning, and that are working towards mainstreaming towards a less restrictive environment, and they have one therapist for 2 children for periods of their sessions.
Do you have any situations where there's a therapist with more than 2 children?
No, we do not have insurance authorization for that.
So it's either 1 or 2 children, most often 1 child per therapist. And they're
Yes,
spending 4 hours with that therapist in that facility each day?
they rotate amongst teams. There are also board certified behavior analysts that are doing what is called protocol modification. They're overseeing and supervising, taking data. So they work, the therapists rotate, and they have treatment plans, and data is taken throughout the day on their goals. And all of this data is what is sent into insurance for authorizations.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe we're at this point now. We've heard all the testimony and the facts have been submitted. So I'd like to hear from Ms. Clastorni. Is there any closing argument? Is Mr. Johnson?
Yes, there's closing argument, Mr. Woodson. So as we heard from the evidence, the current use of the property, the property is currently zoned for office space. And in fact, it's being used for office space. It's to the extent that there's, medical clinical services being provided. We have in fact filed an appeal of the denial of the zoning permit. We have a hearing scheduled in front of the Zoning Board of Adjustment on May 21st. There's nothing in the evidence that demonstrates that this facility is unsafe. The city's witness only went to the property today. He was there at approximately 12 o'clock, half an hour before this hearing. I know because I was on the phone myself with my client as he was there. He'd never been to the property before. His inspection of the third floor was limited to a couple of rooms. He obviously did not go out back because had he gone out back, he would have seen that there is in fact a stairway that leads directly to the first floor. All we're asking for is that additional time to come into compliance until the zoning hearing on May 21st. This is not just an appeal of a notice of violation, we're appealing a cease of operations. Being forced to cease operations for 3 months will be devastating to this business, which provides a valuable service to children in the community. This is a service being provided to children, autistic children, disabled children, that helps them function better in the community. There's really no harm here. The property is not being misused. All we're asking for is a stay of enforcement of the cease until after the zoning hearing in front of the ZBA.
For the city, I just would like to add that a lot of the testimony that has been heard here this afternoon has related to the differences of whether it's a childcare facility and the use. That's defined in the code, in the zoning code in 14601. There's different use categories. In section 4, public, civic, and institutional uses. Section C covers childcare facilities. In the office use category, there's medical, dental, and health practitioners. That's in section B, 5B. That's not a question for this board, though, with due respect. That's a question for the zoning board. And I believe the case law is pretty well settled as far as that goes. I would rest on the fact that the city issued the violations with regard to this simply because of the zoning permit was not reflecting the current use, and it's an issue before the zoning board. The city feels that there may be a safety issue, but I would ask the board to evaluate the record. Thank you. Audio.
This is the reporter. Should we go off record? Are there technical difficulties?
I don't believe there's technical difficulties. Is
Okay,
the
thank
board
you.
discussing it?
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we're back on the record. I just need the court reporter to give me the thumbs up and let me know if that's the case. Thank you. And Ms. Clestoni and Mr. Johnson, are you both hearing us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. We apologize to all for that problem. We don't know what happened. There was a glitch of some sort. And so we were wondering why you were not responding to us. And so you were hurting our feelings immensely. So now that we're back on the record, we're okay. So this is where we are. After hearing, I believe we had completed the oral closing arguments by both Ms. Clestoni and Mr. Johnson. Was there anything you needed to add?
I don't believe so.
Okay,
No.
thank you. Ms. Clestoni, understanding that your request is really is that we take no action and that we're able to stay the cease operation until after the zoning. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, my understanding also is that by virtue of this hearing, this has been stayed until a decision is made by this board?
That's correct.
Okay, so the board has determined that the most appropriate action to take is to continue this matter for at least 120 days after the date of the zoning hearing. I think that accomplishes the mutual agreed to goal. So that's about 120 days, I believe.
After the zoning hearing?
After the zoning hearing.
That's acceptable to us. We appreciate this.
Thank you.
Just one moment, just one moment. Yes, I believe I misstated it. We are not suggesting that we continue with 120 days after zoning. We're saying that we will continue at least 120 days until the zoning occurs.
I understand. So that would be, this is February 11th, so sometime in June.
Yes. So, Mr. Johnson, is that, you're okay with that wording? So
Yes.
in simple layman's terms, we will continue this matter until after the zoning hearing has been conducted, which is currently scheduled for May. Ms. Gladstone, what is the date of this hearing?
21st.
May 21st. So we will reschedule this matter after May 21st, as soon as possible. Okay?
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
all. And we're hopeful that this can be resolved in the meantime. Thank you. Everyone have a good day.
Of course.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Model, what's our next matter?
That was our last matter, sir. That concludes the calendar.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. That concludes our hearing for today. We're now off the record. Have a good evening, everyone.